go. We are on a yacht, and we're podcasting. This is a Yachtcast. We're with Matt Farah from Smoking Tire. What's up, Matt?
Hello, guys. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. The ride out here was very nice. You pretty much knocked 10-year-olds off their off their sailboats.
Did you see that?
There was a little sailing school that I almost gave him a little wake sandwich, but we avoided. And they turned out to be helpful. They reminded us that our fenders were still hanging over.
Yeah, the bumpers were up.
Yeah, you still had the bumpers up. So, Matt Farah is from Smoking Tire. Your YouTube channel is ridiculous. You're closing in on 1 million subscribers.
We have been making YouTube videos for 10 years, so it's just been slow and steady over time. There's not been one aha. It's been just like a little, a creep. But I've been a fan of Opie and Anthony, and then Opie and Jimmy, and then Opie and Carlin, Vic, and Sherrod, and now whatever the fuck we're doing with this Zoom H6 on my boat. But hell
I thought you'd be impressed by this. Thank God I didn't bring the old equipment.
I really wanted to see the old equipment. I saw it on your Instagram. It was awesome.
The guys from Ubon made fun of me because I walked up to the barbecue fest in New York City with the old equipment in a CVS plastic bag.
Oh, dude, they're like, who is this idiot that you brought this?
Did you look like a fucking cosplayer from Almost Famous?
Exactly. His first job at Rolling Stone.
Ben Fong Torres.
And then we're killing it. Everyone's just telling stories, and the laughs were great. And then I had to stop the whole podcast and go, the equipment crapped out, so we're going to continue this from my phone.
It actually went okay. I was like, oh, this is going to suck. But then I was like, I like the ingenuity. I like that you kept it going and committed.
I panicked. I mean, it was too good to not do it.
They were great people, those barbecue people.
The barbecue episodes were really fun. Awesome. The old guy telling old guy jokes was actually a really funny bit. It was there was good barbecue knowledge dropped in there as well.
He called me like a week later. It's like, Carl, Gary. I said, hey, Gary. I heard when I wasn't there, you said that I was dead.
Who said that? It was Pat Martin, right?
No, I said, they're like, where's Gary? I'm like, he died.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And then Pat Martin, I think it was, he goes...
shopping for a casket.
He's shopping for a casket. I'm like, wow, these guys don't play, man.
Gnarly, wow.
Usually when you hear an old guy tell a joke or says, I have a joke for you, you roll your eyes like, oh, my God. But he more than pulled it off.
In the car. He was like, I'm going to tell some jokes. I'm like, here we go.
I know, it's going to suck.
I mean, that's an art form that's long gone. Maybe it should be long gone, but you run into anyone that's in their upper 70s to early 80s, they all have at least 10 or 12 jokes they could break out.
The goat... But you fuck one goat. That was the one. At first I was eye rolling, and then he dropped the but you fuck one goat. I was like, oh shit, that's the joke. That's true.
Yeah, go check out the barbecue episodes if you want to hear old man Gary telling some great old school jokes.
But it's for me to like literally my entire adult life is like you in a studio. To see you like out and about sticking a Zoom handy recorder in people's faces and like making something out of that is like equal parts hilarious and like also very satisfying.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, because people are like, why don't you get back in a studio? Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick a studio over being on a yacht in the middle of the Long Island Sound. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
This boat is so dope.
It's freaking amazing. I do want to say, you got to describe your Smoking Tire YouTube channel and your whole brand for the people that don't know out there yet.
So I make car videos on YouTube, basically. I do car reviews on YouTube. It's the Smoking Tire on YouTube. I do the Smoking Tire podcast. Fuck else do I do? All the social media stuff, but mainly...
what's your angle on the whole car thing?
So, I'm just a guy who likes cars. You know how, I'm sure you know how this is, like... When you have a personality on any type of broadcast personality, like people see something of themselves in that person, or they relate to whatever that person's like view is of the world, or in my case of cars. And so I was just a guy who like learned a lot about cars at a young age and like figured out how to drive them okay, and just kind of started making videos at the right time that people were looking for that sort of thing. And some people found me, and then some more people, and, now it's a thing.
Right. What was your first car?
My first car was a hand-me-down from my dad. It was a Lexus LS 400. Remember those? It wasn't really
the Jew canoe.
The Jew canoe. That's fucking great. That's really funny. My dad sold it to me for like, a quarter of what it was probably worth. But I was a kid. I sold shoes. Like I sold shoes.
Can I stop you? That's how rich he is. You come from a rich family, right, Matt?
They're rich now. They weren't when I was younger. My dad is incredibly successful, but like most of his success came after I was like 15 or 16. So I'm all right. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm all right. We're good.
We're on a yacht. I think you're doing just fine.
We're on nachos and lemon heads on my dad's boat right now.
Right.
But for sure. But like,
no, I stopped you because your first car was a Lexus that your dad.
It was like 5 years old and had 60,000 miles on it. It wasn't like a brand new Lexus, like in fucking Blue Chips, Nick Nolte. But like,
but my first car was a Dodge Aspen wagon.
That's a piece of shit. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
And the back doors didn't work, right? So my dad decided. I mean, this was back when we didn't worry about all that car safety crap. Who needs that? So he got a metal wire. And he put the metal wire.
Where did the metal wire go? I can't wait to hear where the metal wire fucking went.
From door to door in the back seat.
I'm sorry?
From door to door because the doors didn't open.
Hold the doors together? A metal wire?
Yeah, because
so if
the
you
doors
got rear-ended, the wire would literally just cut you in half?
Oh, a guillotine. Dad made a torture tool.
What the hell? No, it was either that or I can't drive.
Did you have any friends that said, "Hey, Dad, maybe you're hurting the kids"?
You know the little Sharper Image egg slicer? You were driving one of those.
You were driving an egg slicer.
It's a cheese knife.
Yeah.
My dad liked to take shortcuts, and and I'm sure if he went to the service guy in Centerport, Long Island, he would have cut my dad a break and probably fixed it for maybe less than $100. But my dad said metal wire, door to door. So
he fixed it. So he definitely fixed it.
So when I would pick up my friends in high school, they would have to jump in the back window and then tuck.
You put people in the seat with the fucking wire?
Yeah,
dude, that you can go. You could have killed everybody.
That's so
not somebody, everybody.
Bro, it was the '80s. You got away with murder back in the '80s. You know that.
So imagine this: Opie crashes a Dodge fucking Aspen at 60 miles an hour.
Give me a color, please.
The passengers
horrible green
are sitting 8 inches from a wire,
and it's tension, right?
No, it was also the seatbelt for real. They were tight. They were tight,
bro.
Bro. Don't ever tell that story.
Look, I may have been spoiled with a 5-year-old Lexus, but you almost were put into a torture device that has the potential for maiming. Your bar is fucked.
My friends love jumping in that damn thing for whatever reason, though.
I bet it made everybody laugh.
Without a doubt. Because I grew up in Huntington, which is right across the water from here. And my curse was that we were in a pretty decent upper middle class neighborhood, but we had no money.
Oh, yeah.
So all the kids I went to high school with were coming to school, Beamers and all that, like brand new for their 16th birthday. And I would pull up to the student parking lot in my Dodge Aspen wagon.
Yeah. There was obviously a lot of those at the school I went to as well, which was super snooty. I went to Rye Country Day School, which is as snooty as it sounds. I was trying to do the opposite of bragging there, and your reaction was a brag reaction.
Anything that doesn't have a number on it, we go, ugh. So if it doesn't say PS whatever, we're like, oh,
fancy.
A school with a name.
But we definitely had fun in people's shit boxes. Yeah. I was always into cars. It was really important to me. It wasn't like about flashing money. I got car magazines from when I was 5. Like being 16 and having a driver's license and a car, like on top of the obvious like freedom connotations, the car itself and the driving of the car. Like, I was basically sober in all of high school because I really enjoyed driving my friends around. Like, I'd go buy them beer, they'd get all fucking wasted, I'd take them from party to party. Like, I wanted to be driving. So
you were the designated driver?
I was, actually, yeah, I was. I didn't start doing the things I do now until college.
I'm a little older than you, and we had the designated driver program. That just meant you didn't do shots at the bar. For real. Yeah. For real. If you were the designated driver, that meant you made a pact with the rest of the guys. You wouldn't do shots. But you would drink 12 to 16 beers, no problem. What was your first car?
My first car was a 1987 Audi 4000 Quattro CS.
Bro, if you had one of those right now and it was in decent condition, it'd be in really good. It'd be worth
24,000 miles. I was making good money back then.
You had that new? You bought that car new?
I bought it a year old from Jack Daniels, this old Porsche.
Dude, if he had an Audi in period, he was doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an Audi in high school, and it was gray with red leather. And I had the Alpine Benzie box. It was beautiful. I had I had black BBS wheels on it.
Oh, man, he knew. He knew back in the day he had taste.
Yeah, auto sport suspension, coilovers, it was everything. And I literally, I ran out of girls in school to crush in that car. I crushed every girl because everyone else was just substandard. And I was the only one with money, and it was fucking Ruiz finger fest.
Wait, where did your Audi money come from in high school? Were you working at something?
Let's see how I can frame this here. So I was already cooking. Let's just say I had access to everything. Because, while everyone else had like a shitty summer job, I was already like a sous chef. You know what I mean? So by the time high school was wrapping up, I was making maybe $50,000 a year.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. No, so you had a real job.
I had a real job.
You weren't a criminal.
I remember my guidance counselor one time. He says, "Carl, you're in danger of not graduating." His name was John or David or some shit. I said, "Hey John, how much money do you make?" The guidance counselor. He's like, "Why is that relevant?" I said. And I figured, let me get around this dumb.
Eventually.
So I said, no, I'm just curious because maybe I want to be a teacher, guidance counselor. He's like, oh, well, with benefits and everything, I make $34,000. I said, hey, nut job, I make $50,000. I have a brand new Audi outside. What are you telling me about? He goes, get out.
Actually, that's good advice. The last two words were really practical, good advice.
And I would see him, I would leave, and he, back then the school windows, they would fold down.
Yeah.
And he would be standing there looking out the window, and I'm parked, I'm parked with the sunroof, and I look at him like, Giotto! And I had the Euro hella horns. Wah, wah, wah.
You had all the 80s fucking Euro mods.
You
definitely read European Car Magazine in the 80s.
I read it all day long.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't getting girls in my Dodge Aspen wagon, I'll tell you that much. Although my prom date, we used the Dodge Aspen wagon.
Well, it was saw her in half with that cheese grater you had in the back.
She was in the front seat, you weirdo.
Was it a bench seat?
Oh, yeah.
It was, right?
Bench in the front, right?
Bench in the front.
And it was green on green on green, right? Triple green?
It was that terrible green color, yeah. Not that forest green. Huh?
This boat is either someone fishing or the cops. Hopefully it's not the cops.
Why, they're not going to say anything.
No, they're not going to say anything, but it occurred to me when Opie asked me for sunscreen earlier, where do I keep the sunscreen in the same bag as the boat registration, which I left at the house this morning. So we're going, he's got a big net. I'm going to go with fishing instead of cops, but it looks like a police boat. Nah. But right now we're technically riding dirty.
God, I wish it was a police boat.
I got pulled over yesterday. 2 days ago, just 4th of July weekend, safety check. They roll up hard with the lights on and the inflatables and the guys with the vests, and then they make you show your life jackets and flares and stuff like that.
Now, I wasn't a car guy growing up.
I'm sorry.
I just didn't have that gene, man.
That's okay. It's not. Were you an athlete?
Yeah.
Athlete. It doesn't happen to athletes.
No, I was a big time athlete.
What do you mean athlete?
I played. I was convinced I was going to be in the NBA, but I never got the hype.
Convinced of what you were doing.
No,
I played basketball. I was a runner. I played baseball, but I was too much of a pussy to stay in the batter's box, so I had to give up on baseball. But I continued all the way through college playing basketball.
A lot of being a car guy has to do with not being good at traditional sports.
See, I thought if you were a jock, I remember some of the jocks in my high school, they were car guys as well.
It's not a one-to-one correlation, but a lot of my personal car shit comes from me not being a particularly fast runner, and here's as a little kid I was very fast in a go-kart. I could beat anybody at the go-kart track, but I couldn't beat anyone in the 100-yard dash at school, and I didn't understand how the football plays worked. You know what I mean? But racing shit made sense. So it's oh, okay, I don't need to be in the best shape, but if I have the best reaction times and if I have a good machine, I can be victorious at this. And so
young Anakin Skywalker.
So that was part of it. And also cars are the cars are, of all machinery that exists, except maybe, planes, helicopters, whatever, cars give the average person a level of sensory feedback that exceeds pretty much what is available from all other machines. You go out in a fucking McLaren or something, and I will melt your eyeballs. And I'm not, Michael Schumacher, me... decent club driver could scare the fuck out of a normal person in what a car can do today. And so a car, it looks a certain way, it sounds a certain way, it feels a certain way, you sit in it and you're enveloped in a certain way. It makes these noises when you do different things, and it has G-forces and smells, and literally, maybe with the exception of taste, every other sense you can get out of a car.
I fully understand what you're saying, but I got to be the guy that says none of that excites me. Is that pathetic? Is that pathetic?
I mean, have you ever had...
I don't like your attitude about it.
Have you ever had, like, a really great car experience? And I'm not talking about just, like, a road trip where the car itself was the experience, and, like, you ever ride in a race car with somebody or anything like that?
No, nothing.
I think we should try and find you, like, a great car experience and to give you a level of appreciation
I'll
for
tell
it.
you, last summer I drove, I'll say it, and I don't know where this is going to go, but that's the beauty of this. I drove a Tesla, and I was fascinated by the Tesla and the technology of the whole thing.
For people that aren't into cars, Teslas might as well be fucking spaceships. I mean, really, because they're so unlike whatever it is you drive. Your truck is nothing like a Tesla. You know what I mean? It's such an alien experience for most people. Those of us who are really into cars are used to having alien experiences of different kinds, and so we look for other things. But yeah, if you're not a car person, a Tesla will feel like everything else is completely outdated and stupid.
But the self-driving features, I was just completely amazed by that. I'm like, what?
They're horseshit. Don't use the term self-driving. It's not a real term. So what you're looking at, I'm sorry, I don't mean to it's terminology when you talk about semi-autonomous features is like really, really, really important. Confusing terminology convinces people to buy cars for features that aren't real. So, like, Tesla has a feature called autopilot, right? And autopilot is really an advanced cruise control system. It will keep you going a certain speed or match the speed of the car in front of you, and in instances where roads are well marked, it will keep you in your lane. It won't make any decisions for you. It won't navigate you. You're in control. And in fact, you still have to put your hands on the wheel. It's like every 60 seconds or something like that. But the term autopilot, to me, is intentionally confusing because it makes you think it's doing some shit that it's not doing.
So I was driving one for about a little over a week last summer, okay? So when I brought my young family with me and said, watch what this car could do as we were heading toward a curve, and I decided at that moment to turn around and talk to my kids in the back seat, I probably shouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't recommend that. The math is only okay on a situation.
I was amazed by it. I understand what you're saying.
There's no denying that it's cool, but I think the biggest problem to these types of technology is they're in a real gray area right now. And in general, consumer confidence over what they can do versus what they can actually do, the people think they can do.
But don't you think they'll figure it out and they'll designate a few highways or roads where they know damn well it's way safer?
I believe that eventually, urban areas and special lanes will be designated for autonomy. But we're talking a long time. We're not talking, possibly not even our lifetime.
My mind was blown though because your brain doesn't register what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And there was a car slowing down in front of me. I wasn't ready to test this thing. I was in self-driving or whatever, autopilot mode. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, time to test what this thing could do. So I just let go of everything as the car in front of me was slowing down and making a right turn. Car slowed down so smoothly to a perfect distance. Yeah. That car turned to the right, and then the Tesla took off again to highway, not highway speed. It was a town road, so it was 30 miles an hour.
No,
and my mind was like...
The biggest issue with technologies like that is someone's ability to develop overconfidence in them. That experience will be just like that most of the time, right up until it's not. And the problem is, when it's not, you have to be ready. And because it's been so good so much of the time, you might be fucking watching Harry Potter on your phone. You know what I mean? You might be reading a book. You might be turning around to talk to your kids the second that system decides, I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. So
yeah, but to stop you there for a second, so we drive the Long Island Expressway a lot. We're in the HOV lane as everyone is crawling along,
right?
And we not a game, but me and my wife will have this discussion. I'm like, all right, look at all the other cars. I don't want to exaggerate, but let's say every fifth, sixth car, they're checking their Facebook on the Long Island Expressway. So my thought is, if you could have some of these features in there, it's better than not having them.
No, don't enable the fucking addicts, bro. Don't enable the addicts.
Because they're going to assume I'm now good, I could really check my Facebook.
Yeah. Yes. They're going to say, I'm not too tired, this car will handle it. I'm not too drunk, this car will handle it. I can have this conversation, this car will handle it. I can climb in the trunk and get something, the car will handle it. I can get a fucking blowjob, this car. Whatever it is.
Car should handle
You know, whatever.
It's bullshit that it does.
For the record.
You know, Carl checking in.
Whatever it is,
Where are you going?
I'm
the cigarette. He'll be in shouting distance.
I love the podcast and everything, but look at me. My wife took everything. I'm gonna enjoy all the teak wood I
Let's go
can.
outside with Carl.
Yeah.
You're hand holding for.
Oh, that's right. That thing's got a
Why be in a
battery.
studio?
I love the shirt you chose for the yacht today. I love it when you call me Big Papa.
That was the hypnotized video that was on a boat, right?
Yeah.
The hypnotized video.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Although, if you were to describe this boat, when people ask me to describe this boat, I think it looks like Rodney Dangerfield's boat from Caddyshack.
I wish I could do the horn. Yeah. And thank you for the bagels and the lox this morning. My
right?
God, was that good?
Shout out to Lenny's Bagels, Rye Brook, New York.
Lenny's!
I paid full price, but they're good.
Let me tell you, it's very satisfying to me when someone knows what type of bagel to buy, what kind of cream cheese, what kind of the lox he got was right. He didn't go with the belly. I mean, it's just so nice when someone does it. Because I'm always disappointed.
I'm listening to you.
When other people buy food for me,
I'm listening to you guys, but as you talk, there's fish jumping right off the
Throw a
back
pole
of the
in.
boat.
You want me to hold it, and you can throw a pole?
Nah.
It's on your own shot.
Because I want to make sure
Don't
there's.
worry, Matt.
I can operate that device.
No, you don't know how to operate anything.
Oh, he's only got 1 million followers.
Whatever.
That's the same rig I use when I do cars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, so to finish the
the
Tesla
Tesla thing,
and the
right,
self-driving cars, because I'm fascinated by technology in general, and I'm also really frustrated by technology because the government and just society in general slows everything the fuck down. It seems like if you got this technology with the self-driving cars, it's like, let's get it going and really try to make this shit work.
I agree with you in most of the stuff, but I disagree with self-driving cars. It's so bad. Like, it doesn't do it. I've been in them. It gets confused really easy.
I've spent a lot of time in them. They're not there yet, but when you offer someone this gray middle ground, the driver gets so complacent. So complacent. Right. Even the people, like, what was the accident that happened recently? There was an actual... there's Teslas and cars with like semi-autonomous cruise. Opie's sweating because he's seeing fish. They'll be there. Bro.
Have you seen him? He's got.
I know.
He's got.
So like, look.
I want to focus and get this podcast done. Then we're gonna go fish.
Oh my God, you're gonna both do this. Okay, man, I'm fucking tired. I don't get Carl. Funny joke. Okay, bye.
Right.
There's this company.
Oh, that's weird. This podcast is 17 minutes long.
There's a company called Waymo. It's owned by Google, and they're testing actual autonomous cars, right? And they've got all the shit on the roof, the sensors, and they have a human monitoring them, in theory. Well, one just crashed in Arizona, and there was a fatality, and they found out later that the person whose job it was to monitor this car was streaming fucking Netflix on her phone. Like, at the time of the crash. Like, and that's her whole job is to watch this car. And even she was confident enough to stream a movie on her phone.
Well, there you go.
Fair enough. It's Arizona. That's like West Coast Florida.
Well, shit.
Well, there you go. Well, then what about... True. I mean, we can move on, but what about Pittsburgh, where they're actually got self-driving cars tooling around the city a little bit, and then you got community homes in Florida, they're using them a bit, so it gives these people a chance...
If you have confined, semi-controlled environments, like, so if Google wants to build a little city, in Arizona that... by all accounts, like the fucking Truman Show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Build the Truman Show city and let some self-driving cars run around. But, like, the problem is sooner or later you need to test these things in large areas and with big groups of people. I think that the terminology that sells them gives consumers more confidence than they should have in those.
So the article,
that's the problem.
So the article I read where they're talking about in our lifetime, it's going to be all self-driving cars, and you're going to use like sort of an Uber app.
Even if you bail, let's just forget self-driving. Even if you banned new car sales today, ban it today, it would take fucking 50 years to replace all the cars with electric cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fish are really
Look
close
at his
now.
eyes. His eyes are just looking at the. Should we go inside? I'll pull the shades closed so you can't see.
Come on, come on.
Oh my God, I'm getting weak in the knees.
I'm
getting weak in the knees.
Down and put your paw
Oh my God. No, but
Go put your
the
shirt back on.
The article I read was you got an Uber app. You call a car. It shows up. No driver. You jump in. You do your Google Maps or your Waze or whatever. Get to your location and just get out of the car, and the damn thing just takes off.
That they have that now. It's called a fucking Uber. It just has a guy in it. What's the difference?
Just tell the guy not to talk to you.
All you need for there is a box in your Uber profile that says "Shut up and don't talk to me," and there you have that.
What a great idea!
Yeah,
because a lot of these guys get a little chatty.
You need a "Don't speak to me" button, right? For sure. But sorry, we have some waves here.
Wow.
No, those are probably 50-pound striped bass that are just saying hi.
Rocking the boat.
They're just saying hi.
You are so weird.
Look, here's the problem. If the goal,
It was my home.
Dude, you're full spectrum right now.
Yes.
let me just finish out this
Okay.
one thought, and then we can talk about anything else you want. So,
Girls.
if the goal was really to improve safety, which everyone says it is, there are way, way, way more cheap, can-do right now proven ways to improve safety. There's a million of them, and they're being done in other countries. You can pick not all of them in other countries, but you can go to other countries and
Well,
find
name one. This is fascinating.
variable speed limits, like in Switzerland, based on road conditions, weather, things like that. So, like in Germany, like all new cars sold in Germany, like they have better headlights than we have. Like they have better driver training is the biggest one. Make it harder to get a license, that kind of thing. Make it harder. Like America's driving test is obscenely easy compared to other countries. We do not take driving seriously as a country. So I would start there, and then have things like variable speed limits based on conditions, etc. That's way easier and could be implemented right this second, but it's not about safety, it's about money. What can we sell you? What can we convince you need? But it's all fucking bullshit money. It's money. I mean, technology's great, but like, the goal isn't safety. If the goal is safety, why is Elon Musk selling flamethrowers in California?
Right. What's with the
Our fucking
flamethrower?
state catches on fire every year. Elon Musk is selling them, going, "Hey, buy my electric car. We're going to save the planet." You want a flamethrower?
Why does he sell flamethrowers?
It's a goof. It's a Spaceballs goof. He's obsessed with Spaceballs. Teslas have ludicrous mode. It's a Spaceballs goof. Which, on the one hand, do you ever think Spaceballs goofs were going to make it into real cars, in real life?
But that car going into space, that was kind of awesome.
Throwing his car into space?
That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a goof. But the whole
Supposedly that has already crashed Earth. Is that true?
I have no idea.
I thought I read that
stopped
somewhere.
following his Tesla Roadster after day
And what
one.
about the rockets coming back down on the launch
That's fucking
pads?
cool.
That was
Guys landing-
amazing.
I'll give those guys credits. I watched them land rockets, and that's awesome.
And you're based out of L.A. They're digging.
So I saw the takeoff that looked like a giant sperm in
Yeah.
the sky. Did you see that? It was nuts. Where the stages separate and they return. Like, SpaceX is crazy. I know people who work at SpaceX. It's very legit. SpaceX is 100% legit.
And what about the tunnels they're working on?
That's the Boring Company, it's called.
That's another one of his companies.
He's trying to dig tunnels under LA to alleviate traffic. It's dumb, but the flamethrowers were supposed to promote that. Seriously, I swear to God.
Sometimes I think he's so smart he's dumb, right?
I don't want to say what I really think on the record because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, he's got more money than he knows what to do with.
Opie told me it's a Ponzi scheme.
Oh my God, I did not. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a joke, people.
No, it's there's all kinds of... Wow, your phone is going nuts.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stories, good and bad. The bottom line is the technology is pretty cool. The way it's implemented, in my opinion, is slightly deceptive.
All right, I'm impressed. I'll tell you something about Elon Musk. You want to hear something about Elon Musk?
Yeah, please.
You know about his mom?
You banged her?
No, tell me.
She's one of those models, but she's a very old model with gray hair. And look her up on the phone.
Now?
She's still modeling. She's one of those way past her prime models, and she gets on all the covers
ads and stuff.
No, she's a legit model, and I think she's in her 70s.
Good for her.
I started watching gray hair porn.
South African women are very hot. The Dutch influence.
Yeah.
Dutch girls, smoke shows.
Hot. Dutch girls are
Although
really
I don't
hot.
have a lot of trust for white guys who left South Africa in '94. Do you?
Wait, you've been watching grandma porn lately?
I just kind of came up on my feed. I guess Google's trying to figure out
The algorithm
where I was
working.
headed.
You might also like.
You might also like.
I figured at that moment in time you needed some chicken soup.
Oh, you know I like older chicks. So do you. You're in love with your shrink. She's like 60.
Oh, do you have a Dr. Melfi situation?
Yeah, he has a Dr. Melfi
Oh, how
situation.
fortunate for you.
You better not catch a fish while I'm podcasting.
Jesus.
Sorry.
He says good luck. Fucking Opie talks. You don't talk shit on someone else's boat.
These are the rules.
It's the rule.
I got my own rules.
You gotta
They're
buy your
fishing.
own boat. You want to talk shit off.
They're fishing 100 feet from us.
tomorrow. You're going back to Long Island.
They definitely don't want me. On that size boat.
This boat's the only one of these in fucking East Coast too, so there's no hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah. They built 5 of these. In the
I was
company.
just kidding. Why are they going away?
Because you're
Because
fucking
you're
screaming like a
because
crazy.
you're screaming and scaring all the fish.
Get your beekeeper's outfit on.
Because we're on the Stugats out here. So we start fucking. I just watched that Sopranos where he parks it off the fucking house.
Isn't that the best?
That was the best television. That show really started the whole thing, didn't it?
I met that guy 3 times, David Chase.
David Chase? Was he cool?
In Jersey while they were filming. Yeah, because some of my friends were advisors on the show.
Really?
Yeah, like the real guys.
Like authenticity
Yeah,
advisors?
I was on set a couple times. It was pretty cool.
Dude, I tell you what.
This is a big dude. He's like your size, a little bit taller than you.
Yeah. I just pulled up
Hold this for a second. I haven't watched Sopranos in a while, so you talk Sopranos. I'm going to throw a lure in.
All right, good.
Keep it like that.
all right, we got it. Opie's gonna drop. What kind of lure are you rocking for this?
I don't know.
You want the clams?
He brought live bait actually.
You want to bring the bait?
No. Gotta go.
You know, wait,
Put a bagel on it.
you know what'll really ruin you if you watch I was a fan of Sopranos more than I was a fan of Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
And so now occasionally I'll see this way, sideways.
And not too close, not
okay.
too close.
So now I'll see like a music video with like Steven Van Zandt singing and shit, and I go, "This is just not right."
Yeah, it's weird,
I
right?
go, "Why is Silvio singing this corny shit?"
But you know what? It's funny. That's the only part I didn't like about Sopranos.
Was Silvio?
Was Silvio. I thought he was the only over the top guy.
I didn't know him in any other way.
No,
so
just
for
the way
me,
his mannerisms were like extra mobby.
yeah.
Real mobsters usually. You know what's funny? Mobsters in real life, they try to look like waspy, but they just don't know how to do it. So they'll have like a Vineyard Vines fleece on, but with filas. You know what I mean? They just don't get it.
The one mobster I really knew well actually wore the tracksuits. He really was into the tracksuits.
I just ordered the new.
You want to see the display?
Go ahead.
No, the other way.
The other way, this way.
No, straight at
Jesus
each other.
fucking Christ!
What a mess
This thing is. This is some fragile podcasting.
Why do we let this fucking guy bring a stupid fishing pole?
You call that a cast?
He's
He's figured it out. I mean, this
hook
is
me right in my fucking
Opie's
cornea.
retirement business here is really going well. He's figured out how to have someone else hold the rig.
Do you know that he was like, you know, Opie, you can tell when Opie doesn't want to do something or he's trying to find a way. So he would call me a couple times and he's like, "So are we going to do this Matt thing on the boat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro. I told you we're doing it and we're going to do it."
I was super excited to have you guys out here.
Then you text us, "Bring your fishing pole." Next thing you know, this dude's here at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you're all. I'm a morning person. Really, he's looking at the tide schedules for the fucking
Exactly.
fishing.
Such
You're not a
bullshit.
morning person. Guy who does radio for fucking 30 years wants to get up early. Fuck that.
So what you're going to do this annoying casting the whole time?
Wait, Opie, can we for
that's
a second? Can you just tell me, as a fan of the show for such a long time,
you interviewed me
what?
for a while.
Yeah, what is? No, seriously, I want to. What is it like to know Patrice O Neal in person? To have known Patrice O Neal in person.
He was the most honest and the funniest person I ever met in my entire life. And he's one of the only people that scared the living shit out of me.
In what way?
He was so big and so intimidating. But if you could get Patrice O Neal to laugh, you knew you made it.
Yeah. I saw him perform by accident once about 3 months before he died in the Hard Rock Seminole. I happened to be there, and he happened to be performing. And he did one of the greatest stand-up sets I've ever seen in my life. It was the material for, like, Elephant in the Room, I think he was doing. Yeah. And I routinely listen to that over and over. It's one of the funniest stand-up routines of all time.
His take on life in general was second to none. And people will be quoting Patrice O Neal for 10, 20, 30 years from now.
I quoted him before. I quoted him
what were you
earlier.
saying again?
The mailroom hoe that thinks they're a CEO because they've been there for a month. I quote that all the time.
I think he got that material from doing our radio show. Trust me.
Well,
we had a lot of people that came through that thought their shit didn't stink and started out as interns and were wondering, when am I getting my fucking radio show?
How he had like such a. I mean, he was able to take such like a balanced view on like so many things. I always thought like he was so good at seeing the other side of every issue.
Yeah, his logic was unbelievable. Ridiculous.
I feel like that's where like radio funny really comes from.
What do you mean?
The logic is where the radio funny comes from, as opposed to like stand-up funny. I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything either.
No. Well, with stand-up, it's all about, joke,
Yeah.
If you go, I forgot what the formula was, but if people aren't laughing for 30 seconds, then you're not doing your job on a stage. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. But in radio, you could kind of settle in and get a longer conversation going.
Carl found a pet. Carl found a duck.
I'm a chef, he said.
Carl found. Are you just luring that so you can cook it later?
That's a beautiful duck.
That's a really nice looking duck.
That's gorgeous.
It's got like long tail. What do you look for in a duck?
You want me to snag it?
But then I gotta kill it.
Don't get blood all over my boat. This ain't a fucking fishing. I got teak decks and shit. You can't just like slaughter shit on this thing. Although he knows what's happening, though. He's running away. He heard me talk about.
Yeah, look at that. He was gonna go.
No. He smells chef.
That's a beautiful.
I might have to try the clams.
Purple-tailed.
Okay.
The lure's not working today.
I'll go get the clams.
Go get the clams.
No, we got a podcast.
No. Podcast away, bro.
We got a podcast a little bit.
But back to like Patrice real quick, because I thought, especially given who, Anthony was at the time, to have the two of them being able to have like a fairly civil discussion, or at least it sounded that way on the radio, was a unique situation.
Absolutely. I mean, my whole thing with politics on the radio, I just it's most people don't do it this way. It's always just one-sided. It used to drive me nuts. I'm like, let's talk about politics, but let's try to get both sides represented. But most talk show hosts, they don't want that. They just want their side, and they just want to just like.
Well, because you have to build an audience that like kind of self-perpetuates, right? So you have to build that echo chamber or whatever.
I guess, but it would drive me nuts. That's what drives me nuts about these are clam bellies.
Clam bellies going on the ride.
That's delicious.
They catch bluefish out here, and they catch stripers.
Yeah. No, I'm looking for a striper.
He totally researched everything. The joke is on us. This has nothing to do with the podcast. He ate all the fucking bagels, and now he's fishing.
No. Yeah, I know. Podcast over. That's what drives me nuts about watching MSNBC or Fox. It's like they're just spewing to the converted, man.
Yeah.
I would rather them get like a hardcore opposition on and really battle it out. That would make for some great TV, but no one has the desire to do that, because whenever either channel has the other side on, they know
there goes that towel.
Did you watch that?
He motherfucker just dunked his clam on my beach towel.
It looks like a pulled out uterus. Don't fucking nut.
What do you need? A paper towel?
Yeah,
Give him his own shirt.
I got nothing. You got to go grab a paper towel from downstairs, Carl. I'm sorry, I got nothing.
This podcast is turned to fucking shit.
I'm glad I could be here for this one. This is what happens when you take it out of the studio, right, Ope?
Yes. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Listen, I've heard fucking fire trucks. You guys keep it raw.
Hopefully we'll hear Carl drowning.
I hear you.
Oh, you're there.
I got the buckets of concrete. Hey, we ready?
All right. Let's try this.
Let's get big cast. Good distance.
A little bit.
Looks like about 60 feet. Is this the first time you've ever broadcasted while fishing?
Yeah. Something like that.
Anyway, he used to write shit on the sand, remember?
Oh, yeah,
with
your toes.
Keep your head on a swivel.
That was my favorite one at the aquarium.
It got nice out here today.
Shit,
This is
you
good.
remember
Yeah,
that?
of course I remember.
When everyone was backstabbing me, and I just
Keep your head on a swivel, boys.
I just happened to go to an aquarium that day and said, I could make some videos today. Nice. Oh, look at that. The Shark Tank.
The walk around town videos a lot better than me. I like, see, for me, making car videos works out really good for me because I'm pretty good in front of a camera, but I like to be like in the middle of nowhere. I don't like to stand in the middle of the crowd and make a fucking scene. I get all clammed up about that
That's
shit.
Opie, man. Opie will embarrass the shit out of you. I mean, you know how hard, you know how many things I've done? Do you know how many places I've been naked? Do you know how many times I've ruined sex? And I mean, oh.
Do you have any mind that?
I was with this girl once, and I was trying to get this girl the whole summer, and she was beautiful. Hey, Amanda. And
Shout out to Amanda.
Shout out to Amanda. What's up, boo? So I finally get her by the end of the summer, and she's wearing this little sundress, and I try to go in from the top. There was like a little half moon, but it was too far. My hand got jammed up my wrist between the bra and the thing, so I said, fuck it. I'm going under, right? I'm going right through the undercarriage. I go right in, at least 8 fingers into the butt area immediately, because I figured, I want you to stop me now. I don't want you to stop me when I'm ready
really
to go.
Really time efficient. Of
Yeah,
you.
like I want to know if maybe you were laughing at something else, or does that mean to put my fingers in your butt, right? So I'm going to go with number 2, and then walk me back, right? So
You can always walk me back.
you can always walk me back. We can go back to kissing, right? But right now we're going all in. So I'm 8 fingers in, right? I'm right there, barbarians at the gate. I'm ready to breach. All of a sudden I feel something foreign in one of my fingers, and I pull my hand back out and I look, and there was maybe a little 1/4-inch square of toilet paper. And I said, and that was one of those times. It was a life building experience. It was a teachable moment. I said, "This is what you came here for, kid. You get that done." And I just wiped the toilet paper on her sundress, and I just kept going.
I thought the story was going to end differently.
I admit I did too. Yeah. I didn't see that going there.
She's a good kid.
Good
What's up,
for you.
Amanda?
Hi, Amanda.
She's a good kid.
Amanda's a good egg. Good sport.
Hey, Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
I saw her the other day. She's got 3 kids and shit.
That's awesome. Why don't we break out the Zimas that you
Is it
brought?
time for
Carl?
Zima Zooch?
Yeah,
Zima
before they
Zooch?
explode in the freezer. We had to put them in the freezer because they was
The
warm.
best is I bring the Zimas up because
Wait, one's half missing. Did you drink it in a car? I'm like, maybe.
8 o'clock in the
Nothing
morning.
like an 8 a.m. room temperature Zima.
Oh my
Jesus.
Bro, Zima's the best.
Opie, when was the last time you even saw one of these?
God. I couldn't put a date on it.
This says limited release.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they were gone, right?
Yeah,
This
bro,
is-
I stood online like an iPhone to get these things.
Did you really?
You know, like people like electronics? I'm like, chick booze!
Wait, so they're bringing Zima back for a limited
My friend's
time?
a rep, called me, he's like, and they know how I am. They know I party hard. You know, they're like, hey, Fat
They
Jason.
know I party hard,
Yeah.
so their first thought was,
Yeah, they're like-
Zima's coming back.
Yeah, so the little Indian guy, PJ, at Buy Right Liquors, he's like, oh, the Zima coming in, call, get ready. And I was like, yo, hide that shit. I got 2 cases of Zim Zims.
Zim Zims. Let me
That
taste this
is
shit. For the first time in... what year? 20 years?
This was 94 ballin'.
I think I might have had it in 96.
94,
maybe.
96, yeah. I don't know the years too much because of the drugs.
How long did you wait online for?
About 25 minutes to get the Zim Zims.
Isn't it? It's funny they
You
have
waited
to
online
refresh
24
it.
minutes too long.
Yeah,
What, you
pretty
don't like
gross.
it?
It's terrible.
It's pretty gross. Yeah, it's pretty
Thank
gross.
you, Matt.
Yeah, it's really not
Thank
good.
you.
As the only award-winning chef here, I say it's delicious. Makes both of your words null and void.
You'd find this in a basket on Chopped. Can we get Carl on Chopped? You
I can go on Chopped.
You
I told him no twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On principle, or do you have?
I'm just trying to stay away from game shows. I don't think it. I mean, I'm on one and I'm really good at it, but I miss the days of like old school where you learn something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we had this show idea, mate. Cuckold Cooking with Carl. This is where Carl went up to a guy's in a relationship, and Carl shows up to that guy's kitchen and outcooks him in front of his lady.
Oh my god.
Cuckold Cooking with Carl.
I'll tell you,
Hilarious.
I'll tell you a story. We were on a giant boat.
What's up with these fucking waves, dude?
Bro, I'm Cuban, bro. I'm good.
This puts you to sleep, brah.
Oh, you gotta move. You got a movement.
You got a little nibble. There was a nibble on
Look at
that.
that.
Look, here,
All right,
I'll take this. Go.
Oh,
Jesus, he's off.
He's
a
good.
zima, bro. These things are limited edition.
What do you think? Does that feel nibbly?
It's a nibbly. Talk.
So, Opie's fishing, which is weird.
Wait, we were just so limited release for how long with these emails?
I don't know, but I bought 2 cases just for the ladies. Go.
I mean, it matches your gold G-Shock.
Bro, tell me this doesn't make you feel nice.
Carl's rocking a Yeti trucker hat, a gold G-Shock, a Biggie shirt, and white Adidas flip-flops with
That
socks.
still have nose blood from Miami on them.
That's really disgusting, Carl.
I had a hydraulic
Still-
leak that in the beach.
Oh man, Carl.
Took the bait.
Opie's
you're
back.
feeling things,
Opie's
huh?
back with no clam.
No clams, and he's just putting clam on everything that you own, Matt. Isn't this the? They tell you never meet your idols, bro.
Right.
Never meet your idols.
They'll make you stink like fish. That's those are your idols.
I remember the first time I had Zima and I closed with this girl. She was a little gem. Jessica Ortiz. What up, Jessica?
Shout out to Jessica.
Shout out to Jessica.
Found an olive in your hiney.
You know what I do miss is this grip bottle they have, though. It's a really strong bottle.
I love it. It
design.
looks like it was designed by a Russian in Brighton Beach.
This look like the vodka we have.
This looks like-
they will be confused.
I put baby blood in this.
There's that Russian standard vodka guy. What's his name? Pachenko.
Yeah.
Something Chenko. He fucking docks his boat. He's got a 450-foot yacht
Yeah.
that he drops anchor off my house. He can't get in Marina Del Rey.
Really?
Can't get in the Los Angeles harbor. So he drops anchor, and it looks like a fucking Bond villain shit.
It's crazy, but
Vodka money.
Those Brighton Beach Russians. When my brother at Harvard became friends with this kid, a really smart kid. My brother went the medical route. He went the financial nerd route. And became a financial lawyer. Some shit. I don't know. Something only white people use. So he got a job. He thought it was a good idea to get a job with these Russian guys from Brighton Beach, and Harvard guy, and they were paying him all the money in the world. And my brother said to him, says, "Hey man, listen, I know they're paying you a lot of money, but be careful." You know what I mean? Oh, Carl, George, that's in the movies. You know, real like Harvard kid, never seen anything bad in his life. You know, comes from fucking Oshkosh, Bagosh, wherever the fuck they wear flannel, right? So, 1 week goes by where he doesn't hear from the kid, whatever comes. All of a sudden, he's asking his friend. He goes, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "Oh, he passed away." So my brother goes, "What?"
What?
He said he was in the guy's office in Brighton Beach. The 2 Russian guys came in,
Come on.
tied him up, decapitated him, and threw him into the fucking ocean.
Damn it.
Yeah. Done.
Wow.
There's your little law career, you're a tough guy.
Hope it was worth
Those
it
Russians-
for that Rolex.
Those Russians are
oh
ruthless.
boy. Uh-oh. Hang on.
Jeez.
Opie's fucking up.
It's like millions of dollars here. You got clams on everything. It's an embarrassment.
I'm working the mic placement, and you guys are moving around too much. And
Goddamn seams in the door.
Just a little chrome and a little
Yeah, just chrome and teak.
you see Matt Paddock? That's gonna make me happy.
Oh
That's
no.
gonna make me so happy.
This is gonna be.
He
This better not
panicked.
turn into one of those
'Cause
fucking.
Matt's a tough guy with tattoos, but man, you smell a little zima on his dad's boat. It's over.
That was beer.
that was the beer?
I would have literally took the chrome right off of that.
No, but this is gonna turn into like the old days Opie, where he had some author on who wrote a shitty book and he just fucking slowly turns the screw. You know?
I peed on his book.
You peed on his book?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
That's some OG Opie and Anthony grime.
As he was trying to sell his book, that was just terrible. I wish I remember what the name of the book was.
It's
but-
one of the grimiest things a radio host has ever done in the history of radio.
and as
Peed on his book,
as
bro?
he's trying to sell it, that's why. Even though I'm good with serious these days, that's why them letting me go the way they did. I'm like, really? The things we did.
That was on
The things we
serious. That
did.
wasn't even like NEW. That
Right,
was
so-
on fucking
So
serious.
the guy is trying to promote this book, and he's selling it. He's selling it. Why you should buy his book. And the whole time, I put it in the wastebasket right next to me to my right, and just whipped it out and started peeing on the top of his book.
But he was on the phone though.
Yeah.
He wasn't in studio.
yeah, but I wasn't.
If he was in studio, then that would.
I probably would have peed on his shoes. Why the look?
Why would you do that, bro?
No, but I
It
didn't.
wasn't a good book, and he wasn't a good guest. I remember hearing that live.
No, we had a secret bit. Although the listeners were way into it after a while, where we would book bad guests on purpose so we could fuck with them. And
That's
then,
funny.
and then
That's
the,
funny.
But then the word got out that
he would go in the other room and then call in as a guest. It was before the characters got way out of control and not funny. It was when they were still kind of funny.
what was this?
No, don't get him started.
Never mind.
Move,
You want me to say it again for the record?
Yeah.
just move on.
What was he saying?
That Jimmy would call in from the other room.
Oh,
in a character. Yeah. Whatever.
A bunch of that stuff.
Yeah,
worked.
it was funny.
That worked over the years. But anyway,
But you weren't on boats, and now
no,
you
but
are.
it wasn't. But I wouldn't do those things just because the guy was on the phone. I would do stuff right to people's faces.
I remember that. That's why before we started recording again, I asked you. The conversation went the other way, but like, at what point do you go? I'm gonna fucking fuck with this guy right to his face until he leaves.
I mean, it depended if they weren't respecting us or they were just being complete and utter assholes. I couldn't take it.
Oh, it's like that like when fucking people just refuse to answer questions and stuff.
All that horse
From
shit.
American Pie.
Don McLean?
Don
God, that
McLean.
was awful.
Yeah.
What are you doing radio for?
It was so
talk about shit.
That was the beginning of the end. They got so mad at me that
did.
that I didn't do a legit interview with Don McLean. I tried in the beginning. You were there, right, Carl?
No, I heard it.
Oh, you heard that one. You weren't there that day. And I tried, and then it turned into, well, I still got to, like, try to entertain the audience. So then I spun the thing. And then Pete Davidson was in there, and he was relentless.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Pete
Davidson.
was brutal. Look, he got fucking engaged. Look at him.
Yeah.
To Ariana Grande. Don't mention
Where did that
Ariana
come
Grande.
from?
Oh, you want to
can't
talk about it? No,
Oh, fuck.
Carl hates when I talk about Ariana Grande.
I don't know
It
anything
was the
about
other
her.
day. It was we were
besides
doing a
that she got
podcast.
engaged to Pete
I haven't
Davidson.
seen Vic Henley or Sherrod. We haven't been together in the radio for a year. This one, all he wants to talk about is Ariana fucking Grande.
Sherrod started it.
Sherrod was there.
Why was
Sherrod took a picture because they all were at the Comedy Cellar.
Oh, right.
Ariana Grande, John Mayer, and Pete Davidson, obviously, and Ariana Grande travels with like 4 or 5 bodyguards, not just one. And they were all like, no fucking pictures. But Sherrod is so smooth, he gets things done. He got a group picture of Pete Davidson, Ariana Grande. Sherrod was in it, John Mayer, a couple other comedians.
It's a good picture.
Yeah, and,
a good get.
No, the picture went crazy viral.
John Mayer had the new turquoise AP diver.
Did he really? John Mayer's got watches.
Oh,
he's
for
the
miles.
guy. Yeah, John Mayer's got watches.
Could you guys explain the watch culture to me?
So I think
I don't. It's another thing I don't get. Carl started explaining
It's
it
totally-
to me. You just did it.
I can't give Opie shit now because I just spilled Zima, but I spilled it on fiberglass, not leather.
Exactly.
You know who didn't spill Zima? The pro.
The pro. So the watch thing. Okay, Carl's angle. I love Carl's. Carl is the most pragmatic angle, which is I like trophies, which I think is the
Right.
It's the it's jewelry that men wear. I mean, honestly, you could wear something that costs as much as a big diamond ring, and you don't look like a complete asshole. But from a car perspective, it's machinery. It's more than just something. There's a precision element to it. This one you can't see it, but like the actual movements, the machine is pretty cool. There's a history about it. There's materials and engineering, and I don't know. It's interesting. I do a podcast about watches called the Watch and Listen Podcast.
I love
if
it.
you care.
With Weiss.
With Cameron Weiss, who makes watches in Los Angeles.
And it's also a status symbol among the men too. They look at each other and go, "Oh, all right, I see what's going on here."
I grew up with some guys in the business, not in that business, in the business that gets you those watches. But there was a guy I worked for when I was young, and he told me, he says, "Kid, I'm going to teach you something. It's going to be for the rest of your life." I said, "God." He says, "Every man on his wrist should have a watch that costs as much as a security deposit for an apartment, a TV, a new mattress, and some shoes." Opie, I'm telling a story. Stop listening to that fucking
You
bitch.
heard the splash.
I saw the splash. I know but he's got to bring it back. Bring it back.
You know how watches give you a hard on?
No, they don't.
That's what a fish is. The bloop.
Yeah, when you hear a bloop,
Jesus.
bloop, just think about the most expensive
you know
watch
what
you
hate
can.
tweets?
You can
How many
earn.
hate tweets you're
he
gonna
had
get?
good- He had good advice there. Carl had
Yeah,
good
go ahead,
advice.
continue.
His man had good
So
advice.
always
Now,
have
see, even if I'm not listening, People are listening.
Oh, I know you're not listening. I haven't looked at you for months now. I know you're not listening. So, you just hold the goddamn machine.
That's so funny.
So listen. So he told me that. He says, "Kid, always have that on your wrist." And that was the reason I started watch collecting. When I was 16, he took me to 47th Street, and I bought a Rolex 5513, which is an old-style plexiglass Rolex Submariner.
It's now worth a fuck ton of money.
And then I parlayed that. I sold that, and I bought two watches that were my blue chips. I bought a double red Sea Dweller, which is it's a Rolex Sea Dweller that had red markings on it. And then I parlayed 2 Cartiers that my friend gave it to me that were stolen, and a long time ago. It doesn't matter. Everybody's dead now. And the some right before, and then some right after.
Oh my god!
but I bought a watch called a Rolex Sea Dweller Comex. So Comex was a French diving company, and they would put their logo on this watch. And I bought that watch when I was 17 years old. I had a Comex, and I paid $2,100 for it.
Damn. And
I sold it for $87,000.
87,000.
Yeah. It's very rare.
Box and papers, everything.
Fire.
From Comex.
Fire.
I got a Fitbit.
There you go. It's not about.
And when I knew my marriage was going south,
2
days after I got married,
what
I did was I started buying a lot of watches. I started buying, what I would do is I would give them to my boys, like my close boys. I'd be like, one day I'm going to come for that. All right, cool, man. You know what I mean? And I've been knocking on doors for like the last 3 weeks.
No, the watch thing, like, so I think we both like them because we like them. But I think in general, I find it funny that on Instagram, a house, a car, and a watch are all the same size.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's smart.
Instagram has really, really affected the luxury watch market because it's provided a way to show them off to people who want to see them, in a way that it's. Cars are much more obvious. You go to a car show, they park the cars, and everybody walks around, and that's the thing. It's so obvious, but a watch is much more subtle. So Instagram has driven that market a lot.
I'm fascinated by the culture of the whole thing. There's a whole culture around it.
For years they want my friend's buddy wanted us to hire me as a spotter to rob people because I can spot very high quality products.
Yeah.
They're like, Carl would be the best spotter ever. I know the difference between a Yves Saint Laurent purse or a Hermes purse, or I could tell. I could tell if you got that good hardware on that Hermes.
And now it's true, Carl will tell you with the watches because vintage is such a thing. It's the fakes are completely out of control.
We have full-blown emergency phone calls.
yeah. Like emergency, don't buy anything.
Right, I called him the other day.
Fakes are so crazy. Yeah.
I called him the other day. I'm like, Matt, red alert. He's in a McLaren talking to Minnie Driver.
Yeah.
And then he's got me. Dude, yo, red alert, cuz I'm at an Applebee's.
Yeah.
I'm calling from Applebee's all hammered.
Wow.
And what they're doing is they're welding new pieces of steel on the vintage watches and then filing it down to make them look substantial, like they haven't
to make
been.
worn watches look mint.
Yeah, so they could say, yeah, it's bad.
So what's the most? Sorry, go ahead, Matt. Continue.
No, so the bezel, right? The colored part, it fades over time, and so if you have a really nice fade, it's an indicator of like a worn but care for watch, and like that's what you want, right? So it's been easy to fake that for a while, and now it's getting easy to fake the hard to fake shit, and so
once watches go over the gavel for millions of dollars, then what happens is the counterfeiters, they move down market, right? So you got guys that have been able to counterfeit Ming Dynasty China and pottery from fucking Jurassic Park or wherever the fuck they brought it from. Now they're making watches because now the profit's there. So the profits were never there, so the watches are untouched. That's why people like me, I wear a lot of Seikos and stuff because they're still honest.
Nah, dude, they're faking Seikos now.
Seikos.
They're faking. The watch game is so crazy that they're faking Seikos.
Yeah. And they're easy to fake because the real ones are almost fake.
Yeah. By the way, for the record,
you killed the Zima.
I finished a Zima.
There's Matt.
Delicious.
Matt Farah from Smoking Tire.
Player. I finished the Zima.
So what's the most expensive watch right now?
Well, there's something called a Rolex Paul Newman.
Daytona.
So there's a Rolex Daytona that is a specific vintage in a specific color that the actor Paul Newman wore. It was never officially called that, but Paul Newman's personal Paul Newman, like his. just sold for $17.5 million, which was the record.
In steel. So that was a big change in the watch market, where it used to be precious metals, large complications like turn of the century. There was a guy named Graves, and he would commission a lot of watches, like the most complicated Patek, the most complicated Vacheron, and now it went from those people to the new people. It's almost like the pocket watches and everything are the people that collected model trains. The market's gone. No one wants to have a pocket. As big of a fucking hipster as you are, nobody looks cool bringing out a pocket watch. You're like, what are you doing? What did you just put out of your fucking jacket with the little chain?
There's no beer craft enough.
Yeah, like I saw this one dude. He had everything. He had the little mustache, the handlebar with the fucking pocket square, and I see him pull out a vintage pocket watch.
Yeah.
And I just had hater Tourette's. I'm just like, boo! 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 Everyone's like, get in the car. I'm like, boo! I couldn't take it. It was too much. It was everything. He had the old loafers.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck that guy.
No, but like a good watch, it's like will be tough. You can use it, you can wear it, and in some cases you can collect it and make a little money.
Yeah, and Porsche and to connect it to cars, the old Rolex sport watches, it happened so quickly. Like when I was collecting Rolex oysters, oyster's the name of the case. They call it an oyster because it was waterproof. And they say they invented waterproof, but they didn't.
They did not.
Like they said, the rotating bezel was invented by Blancpain. There's a lot of people. Rolex really didn't invent anything. It's actually the name doesn't even mean anything.
The Apple of watches. Right?
Yeah. It's a collection of different technologies. They didn't. The automatic movement was invented by a company named Hardwood. But anyway, they were going down a rabbit hole. But just like cars, remember like 911s used to be all right, but not that expensive.
Yeah.
Well, but they work. You could drive them, and they have. The satisfaction that you get on them is modern.
They have
right?
a really good honesty about them.
Right.
Yeah, and especially like, the roads have more traffic today. They're hotter. They're more crowded. So the 911 being air-cooled doesn't overheat like a lot of old cars.
Right.
It behaves itself better. So 911s are like through the fucking roof, and Rolex sport watches, vintage Submariners and stuff are through the roof.
Right.
In parallel.
And then, like, the really complicated ones, they suffer. I mean, they're still expensive. Like, my buddy, he has a Ferrari Daytona, right? And we're in the car. You're literally, everybody in the car is a goddamn mechanic. What's going like, I mean, just things you don't...
What's the smell? What's the smell?
The car's literally $1 million fucking dollars. What's going on? Brake fluid's boiling up. I'm like, what? What's going on? One of the floats in the carburetor. Don't worry, that's just raw fuel. It's actually, thank God it's on the other side, so no fire. But you're just gonna smell gas. I'm like, dude, I smell all the gas.
I've had this conversation so many times.
And then it's like, then we're driving. It's like, third gear ain't working today. I'm like, this is $1 million. Like, this is the most unsatisfying thing. The speedometer goes from 10 to 240 kilometers. The RPM just go like a loony clock.
Last year, I'm at Pebble Beach, which is the big primo car show, right? The heavy hitters, the $20 million auction. I'm looking at a Ferrari Daytona. Well, not to buy, I'm just looking at it. It's like $1 million, right? And I'm looking at it, and the color's pretty cool.
And they're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. This guy walks up next to me, and he goes, man, I had one of these back in the day. I go, really? What was it like to drive? He goes, it was like a fucking truck.
It is.
It was terrible. And I go, really? Really? He goes, yeah, I'm going to bid $850 for this one tomorrow. I go, okay.
The steering wheel to turn it. It's you. There's no way you could look cool sitting in it, and the steering wheel is all the way up to your chest, but the pedals are all the way in the back to the right. So you sit sideways with the steering wheel, and it looks like an old movie. I'm driving around like this.
Italian.
Like, it's just like, what the fuck? And then it has all these vents, and no matter where you put the vent, it's heat that smells like gas. There's no... So if you move the vent to the blue, it's heat that smells like gas. And then if you move the vent to red, the temperature of the car goes down, but now you get extra gas with a little transmission fluid.
He is so good at describing things. That's like that is the most accurate thing anyone's ever said about driving a Ferrari Daytona.
They're awful.
Ever. It's the only honest thing ever said for the record about
what I'm
that.
getting from this is just simply not satisfying, considering the money you put into the damn
I don't
thing.
find old Ferraris, and I drove in a Dino, a 270 whatever 246 Dino,
yeah.
right? So we're in the car.
Opie's lost right now.
Yeah, but the people are like this. They get it.
Of
So I'm in
course.
this Dino, and the Dino, this guy, he's telling me how the price skyrocketed on this Dino. He doesn't even drive it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's this little, it's the size of an MR2. The bad one, right? The Mark 1 MR2.
They're tiny.
Yeah, it's the size of a little MR2, and it has a V6 in it that doesn't sound... It sounds like it's broken and there's no oil in it, right? So he's going through the gears, and I'm like, gun it, bro. Yeah, Ferrari, gun it. He's like, I'm gunning it.
Yeah.
I'm looking on the phone. I'm like, I'm in a car to the 0 to 60 in 9 seconds. Get me out of this shit box.
Yeah.
It's the slowest, squirreliest handling thing. Oh, and the headlights, they shut off when you hit a bump.
They all do that.
Oh, they all do that.
Off, and the guy doesn't even try to turn them back on. He goes, they'll come back on.
This
God.
right now is why. So cars like he's talking about right now, there are more than enough rich people, and few enough of those that they're just going to be worth a fuck ton of money, and they'll sit in people's garages. But right now, cars from the 80s and 90s are really popular because you can drive them and they aren't like that.
Right.
You know, for the most part, you could service them in a normal place. You can still get parts.
What car is popular from the 80s or 90s right now?
Like, all fucking...
Any
all-
rice rocket.
And a lot of stuff out of Japan, because, you know, in America we have a 25-year import law. So anything that was never sold here new, like right-hand drive shit from Japan and stuff, after 25 years you can import them yourself and bring them here. So, like, a lot of cool Japanese and European stuff from the 80s and 90s right now. Because right now, 2018, stuff built in 93. So you start even getting airbags and reasonably modern cars that you can import.
I was saying, like, I was in my friend's car. He has a 1988 Mustang Saline, right?
That's probably fun.
Awesome car. So I'm in the car. It's got a roll cage in it. It's got a little badge on it, Saline number, and and it's fast and it's loud and it peels out. And we're listening to club music. I'm singing "Diamond Girl." We're going to Carvel. Girls, like older girls, like old girls that are like married and shit. They think it's new because they've been like they got Stockholm syndrome. They're like, "Hey, boo!" Like they think they're back in the '80s.
Oh my God.
We're fucking cruising around in this fucking thing. I'm like, this is more enjoyable than being in a Daytona. Like I told my friend, and you couldn't do anything in the Ferrari. I'm like, oh, don't open that little vent window.
Yeah.
It falls out into the street. I'm like, what do you mean it falls out into the street?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And the funny thing is it was built this way. It wasn't like it's because it's decayed. This car is in perfect fucking shape.
The funny thing about the guy, Enzo Ferrari, the person, is that from the day he started selling street cars until the day he fucking died, he had total contempt for his customers of the street cars.
Yeah, people don't know.
All
He
that
hated
mattered was the race cars and winning races, and the customers of the street cars were posers. That's what he thought of his own customers. Yeah. And almost all Ferrari road cars from after the Daytona on were engineered by Fiat. And that's why, and not Ferrari, and that's why they started getting decent,
Right.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just read the Enzo Ferrari biography. It's like 8 inches fucking thick.
I ate at his favorite little restaurant in Modena.
In Modena, yeah. Modena, where for the Ferrari factory is, for a car person is sort of a pilgrimage type spot.
And I love it there. And, there's people that have so much money that they buy Formula One cars that you never take home. Imagine that. You buy a car from Ferrari that you're not allowed to take home. So they keep it for you, and then they'll bring it out to the track, and they'll let you drive it around for 2 hours for like $3 million a year.
And they bring,
Oh my
they'll
God.
bring a staff. There's these cars called the XX series of cars, which are like the race car series. And when you buy them, they keep them. And they'll meet you at any track you want. They'll bring the transporter and the crew and the whole
And a
deal.
crew.
And it takes like 10 people to run one of these things. And they do all that, and then they take the car back.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
It's super cool. I mean, there's a lot of ways for the 1%.
Right. To spend their money,
It's
right.
a fortune, though. It's a fortune for that program.
Yeah, it's millions and millions.
All right, let's. What else we got to drink here, boys? You got some.
Zima. I got a Frianza boxed wine.
It's Franzia, isn't it?
I
Frianza?
I add a little note to it. Makes the girls think you got something. You got to twist it a little bit.
You add a syllable to it.
Add a couple syllables.
Right. All right, we're going to take a little break here. I want to throw the rod back in. And,
This is why. You cast that way because I'm going to jump in the water.
You're going to jump back in the water? All right.
Yeah, it's nice.
We're going to cool off, do a little fishing. Joey's going to do something. I don't know what he's going to do to make this make sense. And then we're going to come back and continue with Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire.
Isn't he cool?
He's amazing.
He's my favorite.
He's my new friend.
You guys like me. I'm a fan too.
Aww.
The bromance continues with Opie, Carl, and Matt Farah from thesmokingtire.com on the water. But as waves start to show face on the Long Island Sound and wind rears its ugly head, there's more on-the-go action to come. All part of an episode that's really just an excuse for Opie to go fishing. But he'll talk Pearl Jam and documentaries with Carl and Matt next. Threatening weather on OpieRadio.
Hey guys, it's Opie, and I bet you're wondering, why is Opie checking in on his own podcast? First of all, I hope you're really enjoying this episode with Matt Farah from The Smoking Tire. He's a great, great guest. I'll tell you why I'm checking in, because after I left the yacht and came home to New York City, I got great, 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 great news, and that would be, we got our first sponsor. Oh yeah, oh yeah, we got our first sponsor. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm doing the little dance in my apartment here in New York City. So I want to welcome Talkspace to the Opie Radio podcast. That's right. Today's show is sponsored by Talkspace, the online therapy company that lets you message a licensed therapist from anywhere at any time. All you need is a computer with internet connection or the Talkspace mobile app. That means you can improve your mental health even if you've had trouble making time for it in the past. That's very important to know. I was a guy that said, therapy? I don't need no damn therapy. 10 years later, I completely believe in therapy, and I completely believe in Talkspace. I've been using them off and on the last few days, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Dare I say having a lot of fun as I'm trying to better myself. But I've asked questions like, what is narcissism? Could you explain toxicity and how that affects people in the workplace? How about learning about gaslighting, or people that project, or people that hate on you to make themselves feel better about themselves? Just a few things I'm using Talkspace for. Can't imagine fitting anything else into your life? Well, with Talkspace, therapy is as easy as sending your therapist a message. Get something off your chest whenever you need to. Talk about everyday challenges at work or at home. Just chat about life. There are no extra commutes, no leaving the office, and no judgments. Remember that therapy isn't just about venting your innermost thoughts or digging into childhood memories. Mom, why didn't you get me that 10-speed bike when I was a kid? Things like that. That might have happened in my life. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about that on a future episode of the Opie Radio podcast. It's also about practical everyday strategies for stress management and living a happier life. Having a therapist simply provides you a designated person for you to talk to who is trained to listen and help you make positive changes. The Talkspace platform has over 2,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing life challenges we all face. To match with the perfect therapist for a fraction of the price of traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com/Opie and use the code Opie. That's OPIE. Let me say that again because I know you guys are loyal and you will support my sponsors. Talkspace.com/Opie, OPIE. Use the code Opie, OPIE, to get $45 off your first month and show your support. Talkspace.com/Opie. Now back to Matt Farah. Wait a minute, I did it again, didn't I, Joey?
Yeah.
Farah Fawcett. Farah Fawcett. Now back to Matt Farah from The Smoking Tire on the Opie Radio podcast. And thank you to Talkspace for being our first sponsor. Rock on.
Opie Radio.
What the fuck?
The Opie Radio podcast.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I'm confused.
No, I make fun.
And we're back with the Opie Radio podcast.
Oh, that's the radio voice you're gonna go with?
No.
You should have heard his yacht voice. Do the yacht voice.
What's your yacht voice?
I don't have a yacht voice.
Do it.
I don't have a yacht
You
voice.
definitely did one.
love you. What is
You
it?
definitely did one in the car
Oh,
before
it
you
was
guys
so-
saw
I
me.
was so
I guarantee you, I'm gonna listen to a show. You're gonna have
Yes.
done a yacht voice in the car.
Yeah, whatever. Man.
What did you scream out at me when I drove by you while you were recording?
My life's falling apart. Or something else.
Fall off your goddamn heads off.
Thunder? Did I just
I'm
heard?
hearing thunder in the background. Yes, just to
I'm
reset.
telling you guys, where I'm Cuban and I'm on the water. When I tell you we gotta head back, we gotta head back.
Does that look like just haze or rain over there?
That's just haze.
That's haze. It's not raining, but
I mean, if it rains, like, we're on a fucking
That's-
boat. It's rain, whatever.
That's the haze in your head.
That would be silver lemon haze, courtesy of the Jetty Extracts Company, which I really approve of.
what's it called?
Jetty?
I don't
like
believe you.
like on a boat. It's printed on here. You don't have to believe
Put it
me.
together. Let me see what you're saying.
Carl needs to verify.
You're lying. What is this?
Jetty Extracts, 70%. Tangy.
Never heard of it. Bullshit.
Cool. Fake. Fake news. It's fake news.
That's delicious.
That Jeep pen is the bomb.
It's fake news.
So we're with Matt Farah on his yacht, or his dad's
My
yacht.
dad's yacht. I take no credit, but we're here anyway.
Yeah.
I know it's not your yacht because every time I drop bait on your boat, you're freaking the fuck out.
Right. It was the expressions of someone who has to clean it later. No, it's Opie as it's clams, right? Yeah, he's casting clams off the transom, which is the back of the boat, and he's got a good arm on him. You know, he's really getting some good distance, and so his arm is so good that the action.
Well, the whip
the whip
of the rod is knocking some of the some of the bait, and one went flying straight up in the air and went plopping down on your beautiful, on his
Ralph
beautiful
Lauren
fluffy
towel.
Ralph Lauren
he cast it
towel
at,
that's
like-
probably more expensive than my car.
But it was like 4 seconds later. It was like really it had hang time. It just continued and then just thunk. Like it really had that gack fall, you know?
I couldn't be happier.
Matt goes, Carl, look at my towel. Like, before that, we're like, ha, yeah, fucking podcast it. Carl, look at my towel.
Jesus, this fucking wake. It's like the ferry going by. Fuck me. It's a good day out here on the sound, though.
It
It's
is-
hot as balls.
It is hazy.
It's hazy.
It is gonna dump eventually.
I know. I actually kind of want it to start like thunderstorming while we're out here.
Well,
I think
I
that
love-
could be a fun adventure.
Well, I love podcast noises, so that I haven't got
Are you developing a soundboard? Is that what this is? Who told you that sounds were the
Oh,
thing?
no, let me help you, Matt. Nobody tells him. He comes up with this shit all on his own. He loves to sing.
You decided that sound effects were going to be it, right?
No, I basically started a thing like, people love podcast noises.
But no one's been like, hey, Opie, nobody.
Who are these people?
They all in his
That's
head.
what I
They're the
want.
same people Donald Trump talks about. People are saying.
No, Matt, that's why I do it, because then they start tweeting me like, no one likes podcast
Very
noises.
funny.
I do it to annoy people.
Well, that's how you start. That's how you find the right answer on the internet is by throwing the wrong one out there.
Sure.
So that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
Oh, there's
exactly.
your buddies that you were hollering at are dipping out right now.
They're out of here.
They didn't.
Yeah,
They probably know something we don't know.
they've been listening to
There's
the
no
weather.
boats around us. There's a ton of waves, and there's thunder. Everybody's leaving. Opie wants to do the podcast.
From the yard.
There it is. There's the yacht.
No,
that was the yacht
that
voice.
wasn't the yacht voice. I'm
It's
telling
like
you.
a Judge Smales voice.
You
really.
wanted to ask me about Bernard Getz.
Well, because I said, we were talking earlier about, like, talking shit to guests in studio and whatnot, and I remember listening to Bernie Getz, like, getting angry and screaming at you guys and, like, leaving and shit. I mean, I didn't expect that he was armed at that moment, although he...
No. How the whole story goes, I was scared shitless that I did that. He runs out of the studio and goes for his bag. I'm like,
the
what is
bag. I
he
forgot
running
about the
for in
bag.
his bag? And then I think he realized that he wasn't carrying that day. He was pissed. He gave us a CD. I forgot what it was, like his music, and he wanted us to play his music on the air. And then I believe I got Anthony's attention. We switched out the CD.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't see me switch out the CD. So right in his face, I'm like, "Oh, you want us to play your music, Bernie?" And he looks at me all with this pride, and then I smashed it right in front of his face.
Oh, yeah,
staring him right in the eye, and he famously goes, "You motherfucker!"
Oh, yeah.
And his voice went up that high, "You motherfucker. And then he runs out of the studio, and it's on the security cameras, and
That's a moment.
Bill Burr was in studio. I remember him telling me after the show, going, dude, you got fucking balls.
That shit is going to come and get a gun and shoot you?
I was scared.
That's literally
that was
what
one of the
he's
ones
known
I was
for.
scared.
It's the only thing he's
known
known
for straight
for
up sneaking
is
shooting
shooting people.
in the back.
Like, shit is crazy.
What, he shot 5, I think, on the subway?
Yo, he cleaned house that day, bro.
I didn't really know who he was before because I'm a little younger, so I was like, oh, it's the guy from We Didn't Start the Fire, you know? I didn't fucking realize what it was like about.
Bernie gets... what's the line now?
AIDS crack Bernie gets.
AIDS crack Bernie gets.
Hypodermics on the shore.
Damn it, I should
China's
know
under
that.
martial law. Rock and roll color
Bernie
wars.
gets the original John Wick.
That's what Bernie was. John Wick was the first movie where he would shoot defenseless people. You know what I mean? Like the person was already hurt, boom, in the head. I'm like, gotcha! New fan!
Oh, man. What do we want to talk about? Documentaries? Want to go there?
I like documentaries. The last one I saw 2. I saw Rush's documentary.
Was it good?
Rush Limbaugh?
Were you a Rush fan?
I'm not quite old enough. I get Rush, but I'm not a dying to know Rush. I did see. I know you're a Pearl Jam fan. I saw Let's Play 2,
Yeah,
which
was
I really
awesome.
liked. Did you see my? I have a Pearl Jam
I
tattoo.
see that.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I've done 52 shows.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only done like 4 or 5, and I'm a huge fan.
I made a real hobby out of it.
That's good though.
I just 51 and 52 were last week in Europe, in Amsterdam.
What's your favorite song?
Ooh, to hear live.
Well,
Sad, Down, maybe Garden. I like. Why Go? Crazy Mary, State of Love and Trust.
Crazy
State of
Mary.
Love and Trust is my favorite.
State of Love and Trust.
Crazy Mary's a great
you know what
song.
I'm talking about? Or just making that up? Oh yeah.
It's part of the movie.
My
It's part of that movie.
It was from Singles.
See?
Right. So look, my
What do you
stickman.
think? I don't like Pearl Jam
My
because I'm
stickman
Latin?
is holding. I modified my stickman tattoo, so he's holding pennants that say "Love and Trust."
Yeah.
So that's what that's what
I
that's
didn't see
from,
that
yeah.
part of it, but you don't like elderly woman behind the
Oh
counter
no,
in a small town?
I do, but I've been to so many shows that all the hits I've heard so many times that I like hearing them, but they're not included in my favorites. I've heard Even Flow at every show. It's the only song I've heard at every single show.
It's a good song, though.
Oh, it's a great song. It's a great song, but it's just saying that of all the 52, that's the only one I've heard at every show.
When I was in a concert. My first concert I went to was this band that I used to love. No one knows it. It's called Live. The band was called Live.
Yeah, Throwing Copper Live?
Yeah.
I love Live.
We all know Live.
Everyone knows Live.
Well, not in my town, no one knows. It's like Carl's going on one of those white supremacist things.
Yeah, because he was fucking Christian and bald,
He was
right?
crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And Eddie Vedder was in the. It was at the Roxy, and Eddie Vedder was there in the crowd.
I'm very jealous that you were able to hang out with Eddie Vedder.
No, I didn't hang out with him.
Okay.
But someone told me it was
there.
Eddie Vedder.
I don't know if I could interview Eddie Vedder.
You don't think you could?
There's a few
Too much of
people
a
I'd
fan?
be just too fucking nervous, and then I would feel like there's too much to ask him that I would blow it. I wouldn't ask him the right questions.
I completely agree.
But elderly woman behind the counter in a small town. That's my favorite concert moment of all time when he screams,
just
"Say
wanna
hello!"
say hello,
and
yeah.
then the lights go up.
Yeah.
That is.
Keeley, their light guy, knows what the fuck is up.
It's
I know their
amazing.
light guy's name. That's
oh
how
really?
big of a nerd I am. Yeah, Keeley.
that's kind of creepy.
But
and do you like Just Breathe?
Yeah. All the slow stuff is really hard for them to play live. Actually, I like Just Breathe, but my favorite slow song is probably Low Light. I think. If you know that song.
Do I know that one? I don't think I know it unless I heard it.
And I like Unemployable. Parachutes is really
Sure,
good. They
that's
never
a great
play
song.
Parachutes. I'm such a fucking massive Pearl Jam.
Are you going
There
to-
was a point, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where I could go to a Pearl Jam show, see what guitars the techs handed them, and go, "That's going to be Better Man" or something to that.
Wow,
I could do it
that's
from the
scary.
stands with guitars. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was really. I was really fucking nerdy. I played in a Pearl Jam cover band in college. Like I was really nerdy.
I got the set.
But I love it.
I got the set list last time I.
Fuck, you did.
Yeah.
Jealous.
No, I got it ahead of time.
Oh, cool.
And I'm sure it was one of the copies.
Right.
But it's in whatever the band's
Eddie's.
handwriting.
It's Eddie's handwriting.
Is it really?
He writes them. Yeah.
I still have it. It's something I cherish. But
You
at the
frame it or
time,
something?
No, it's just in a drawer right now. But I would just call out the songs around me though.
Well, I've done,
you just can't be nice.
I've done the guitar thing before, and people around have been like mind blown. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'll see them on the guitars, and I'll be like, "Oh, this is gonna be alive," and then it is.
Come on.
Yeah.
There's no way you know that.
I can't
Well,
get it
that makes sense.
100% of the time, but I've been to enough
That's
shows.
impressive.
And
I'm
I know,
I'm just gonna say alive after every song. I'll get it.
I know,
gonna be
like,
alive.
you know, I know, like when in
You
the
better
sets-
say that 2 hours into the concert, though.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's,
Well, dude, there's
that's one
Pearl
that's-
Jam tends to play certain songs to the beginning, certain songs towards the middle, certain songs at the beginning of set two. But you know, you just see the pattern.
Their story is pretty amazing because they took a page out of the Grateful Dead's book.
Yes.
They were dead in the water.
Yes.
They were during a time when everyone needed a video. For your success. And Eddie, they only did the one.
They
Jeremy.
weren't really about it. They did Jeremy
Yeah.
and Alive was a live video.
Oh, that's right. They did
Yeah.
that. You're right. So they did too. But the fact is that during that time, everyone said, "You're crazy. You need to make videos
Yeah.
if you want to continue with your success." They fall off the map. I'm a music guy, and I was on the radio and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember reading in Rolling Stone magazine. I'm reading an article. It wasn't that big. Pearl Jam never went away. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
I thought they faded away and then came back and had the big comeback. But the fact is,
No, they
they
really
gave up
Grateful
on
Deaded
making
it up.
albums and
Yeah.
said, we're going to make our money touring. And
Yeah.
then they allowed, early on, people to take their shows, which was a no-no.
Well, they
still.
sell their own bootlegs.
Well,
you can buy every show.
No, I understand. Fast forward.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day, they weren't even profiting off it because the technology wasn't such you could really, truly do that. But they allowed their fans to tape their shows, and that gave them some weird new life on the
Yeah.
road. And then, obviously, the rest is
I also
history.
think they play all their songs 10% faster live, which adds a lot of energy to the shows.
Wait. What do you mean 10% faster?
Every song they play 10% faster.
How do you know
live.
that?
I mean, I don't know that it's exactly 10%,
no,
but
I know that,
if
but
you
like-
listen to the any live show version of their song versus the studio version, it'll be like 10% shorter. They play faster live.
Wow.
Yeah. And they play they play long, they play 3-hour sets, they play deep tracks that the set list, there's bands. I fucking saw 2 nights of Social Distortion once in New York City. I love Social Distortion. And they play the same set 2 nights in a row, and he said the same bullshit in between the songs.
Oh, Christ.
And it was like, that was the end of Social D for me.
Right.
But you are in for a completely unique experience every time you see Pearl Jam.
If you're a performer and you can't make it up,
No, I mean,
where
really,
that has-
was an egregious example.
yeah, where that has to be written down
So
for
you
you.
said the same thing. I love Social Distortion. I ruined it for me.
It completely ruined it for me too. But Pearl Jam, it's like the Grateful Dead in that every experience is going to be unique.
Absolutely.
I saw in Philly last year, Philly 2017, they opened the show by playing the 10 albums start to finish.
Wow.
So like I've had some like proper milestones like that. I've seen really good songs played for the first time ever. I've seen shit where it's like, we haven't played this since 91. Crazy guests come out. I mean, I've seen a bunch of really I sat outside of Tower Records for 2 days once to see Pearl Jam at the Borgata in Atlantic City in like a 500-person ballroom.
I can relate. I mean, I did that for the Zimas.
Now what are we drinking? What is this now?
This is Frianzia.
It's Franzia. Franzia. It's only 3 syllables, bro.
So Franzia makes a boxed blush wine that I think is to die for.
That's your yacht voice.
Yeah.
It is actually pretty fucking good.
Right? No, so was it good or not?
It was good, but I'm a little confused because you make fun of my fruity beers, and here you are bringing Zimas and Franzia.
Both not beer.
Point Opie.
Thank you.
Both not beer
No,
stuff.
but a little fruity in
But
general.
Zima and Rosé, you don't get to talk shit
Wait,
about
what?
a citrus beer. You don't get to bring Zima and
I'll
Rosé.
let you guys
and
go
talk shit
through your
about
whole
citrus
little
beer.
conversation, and then
Well, the listeners will be on my side when you guys finish.
Okay.
But
Say
you want to
anything
talk
you wanna
shit
say.
about my opinion at the smoking tire.
Do I have a point?
Yes.
Out of anything Carl could have brought on the boat, notice I came empty-handed.
I also
I had a
came
bottle.
nearly
I had a
empty-handed.
bottle of champagne for you.
Did you?
This is fake.
No, it's not fake, and
It's almost like I'm sitting here talking to Sandra Huckabee.
It's
Right?
okay.
it's not fake.
Sandra.
I might,
Wasn't she in Little Miss Sunshine?
That was funny.
you think she sleeps well at night?
Sarah Sanders? I
that
don't think
apnea?
she has a soul.
You really don't think she has the soul?
I don't. I think.
I mean, people would say, "Look, she's just doing her job," and blah blah blah.
I love
but when
them-
she's
I-
alone at
you know,
night, you
yeah.
think she feels so shitty about herself.
No, I don't. I would do that.
Do that job in a second. Babies in cages? Never heard of it. Next. I wouldn't feel a thing.
Wow. I mean, I really like the movie Thank You for Smoking, but, you know, and I sympathize with Aaron Eckhart's character in that, and that, you know, everyone deserves a spokesperson, but oof.
So I did have a box of champagne for you.
That's okay. We'll drink it next time.
So anyway, let me clear up.
Well, I want to explain to him.
But it's not a real story.
It's a real story, and I'm going to give...
It was a regift. I'm glad he didn't.
That I wanted to tell him that. Why would you take that joy away from me?
You better bros. I'm not gonna let you sit and spin some fucking
See, I was
story.
in the car with Carl. This all started with me and Carl in the car, and I'm like, I feel like I've known you a long time now that we.
Oh, I'm so glad I project that familiarity.
But I'm like,
You're gonna feel like you just met you when you hear this shitty champagne story.
But I went to Carl. I'm like, fuck, I had a bottle of champagne for Matt, and I forgot it at the house, right? And then he pushed me on it, and then I had to admit on the podcast earlier that it was a re-gift, but still, it's a nice bottle of champagne.
I don't care.
All right.
It would be nice if it was here, but honestly, you know,
I don't know a person that actually buys bottles of champagne.
all 100% of my champagne in my
It's all
home is
regifted.
gifted. 100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Well, you have
Everyone's
-1 because of Opie.
You know what? Also, every dollar bill I own was regifted. So, you know, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I didn't originate.
The fact
any of
is,
those.
you accumulate a bunch of bottles of champagne, and you're always bringing them to somebody else's house.
Yeah.
So, just to prove my point, when I came on the boat, and if you guys remember, said, "Wow, why did you bring a box of rosé and a 6-pack of zimas?" And I said, "Just in case we run into chicks." Did I not say that?
You did, and that was
that was his cover.
But
It's not my cover.
You wanted to drink the Zima.
You could follow me all day on social media there, bucko. All I do is drink fucking Jim Beam and get into bar fights.
Point Carl.
Point Carl. Point Carl.
I brought that for the ladies. Single Carl, Fat Jason Bourne is always ready. If we would have stopped somewhere and girls would have got on the boat, you guys got
You know,
an IPA
the
downstairs.
picking up of chicks on the boat, I've found myth.
Okay, but you know what? Just because we didn't see a unicorn today doesn't mean they don't exist.
Oh, Carl's a dreamer.
He really
I'm
could
literally
be Sarah Sanders.
I'm literally a dreamer.
Carl's a dreamer.
You actually are.
You say that 3 times and ICE will show up and drag me off this boat. No, senor, no, different dreamer. Dreamer, sleepy
That's the good
dreamer.
news. I don't have the paperwork right now, but we got to be way more worried about Carl's papers than mine. If
I'm on my way out.
But Matt, that's why the freaking boats were slowing down as they were driving by.
Yeah.
because they heard about a Ruiz
They're like,
presence in
they're like,
Greenwich.
look at that Mexican on that boat.
They heard there's a brown person in Connecticut.
So you asked about documentaries. I went Rush. You went Pearl Jam. The last good one I saw. Oh, they're gonna kill me. It was
The
about,
one I wanted to tell you about
It was about
Tapped, the bottled water one.
Okay.
Just about the entire. As I drink a fucking Aquafina, I'm ashamed. But the fraud that is bottled water.
I haven't seen that one.
You got to see Tapped. You'll really
Talk
hate
about it.
bottled-
Talk about it.
So basically, like most bottled water, and I'm talking about water that isn't like, I think Fiji and like the very specialty French stuff, and maybe Carl can back me up.
I'm going to stop you for a second and say that's what he thinks are the brands.
I don't know, but most bottled water is literally pulled right out of public water supplies and put into bottles, and the neighborhoods that these water supplies are in could possibly have droughts, water restrictions. You can't wash your car. You can't do this. The citizens have to use less water. Meanwhile, certain companies can pull hundreds of thousands of gallons of water a day out of these supplies and sell them back to these very same citizens. So that's
such
what
a
the
scam.
documentary
Well,
covers.
if you look on some of the bottles, you'll see like something like bottled in Pittsburgh or bottled in places you're not thinking.
Bro, here we go.
All right, go ahead.
Bottled by Clinton. This couldn't be more appropriate. Bottled by Clinton's Ditch Cooperative Company, Cicero, New York. Wherever the fuck that is. Where's Cicero, New York? Anyone
Outside
know?
of Albany.
Is it?
No, I just made that up.
That sounds good. Fuck
This
it.
is purified by reverse osmosis.
Holy shit, they're steaming the water. That's steamed water.
So they boil it and bottle it, right? That's it.
Reverse osmosis is
That's
basically
boiling.
Well, it's basically what. So then, what they're doing is, holy shit. So they're steaming it. They're making distilled water,
Yeah.
and then they're chemically adding all the stuff back into it.
Right.
So it's actually fake water.
Wow.
So they took real water and made it fake.
Yeah.
So that means they're using tap water. So they steamed all the chlorine and all that shit out of it.
Yeah.
And then so they took the tap out of the tap,
and then they added mock well water stuff.
In New York City, I drink right out of the tap, and when I have people over, they look at me like they're like freaked out, like, yeah, you know what you can catch from drinking tap water? I'm like, it's way better than the bottled water.
So the other thing the documentary focuses on top of the fact that these corporations are basically stealing water from communities, is that there has been a really, really heavy marketing campaign to promote tap water is dangerous and bottled water is safe, when in fact the tap water is extremely heavily regulated and tested at all kinds of places down the pike from where it goes from reservoir to your sink. This shit is fucking not regulated in the least.
No.
This is bottled water is the Wild West, and I'm this is not my opinion. This is what the documentary says, that this shit is not tested really at all.
I gotta see tapped.
Yeah. One of the best water I ever had in my life was I was staying in Bern, Switzerland, and which is a beautiful fucking place.
I thought you were gonna say Key West.
Bern, Switzerland.
What
is
are you
the
trying to
most...
insinuate? Trying to insinuate a little gee joke? Is that what you're trying to do?
No.
No, Bern,
A swimming joke.
is the most like.
Oh, from Cuba.
The best water I've ever had was right off the shore of Key West.
You know what's funny? I feel so privileged and white on his boat that I forgot I was Cuban. So I missed the Key West joke. I'm like, why? Because I was on Duval Street?
I'm like thinking to myself, fuck, that shouldn't have bombed.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God!
Come on,
It
man.
bombed because
Come on.
I was like an elitist white person. I was like, Key West. I don't go there. Everyone knows I go to Marco.
That was a
Island.
Marielitos joke.
Exactly.
All right, best water ever.
So there's a place called Bern, Switzerland. It's where Einstein figured out the theory of relativity, driving away from the clock on the main tower in the city.
It's
hall.
literally the most idyllic village
Yes.
that there is anywhere in the world. It's like Swiss Alps, chalets,
Yeah.
fucking beautiful cows, and guys yodeling.
Yeah, it's perfect.
We've all seen that picture, but I didn't know that's where he figured it out. I had no idea until this moment.
So driving away on the trolley, he looked back and looking at the clock, he figured out the theory of relativity right there, and he wrote it down. And he wrote it. This is where I figured it out in Bern, Switzerland. And you could stand at the point in the trolley where it hit him. It's fucking awesome. You know, the Swiss are very
And then
technical.
I fell and hit my head on my toilet, and that's where I discovered the flux capacity.
So that's where you got the best
in
water?
In the middle of the town, they have this giant trough, and it's very ornate with these beautiful wood and all these carvings. So I see everybody show up with like pails and buckets and everything, and they're putting it in the water, and they're in the trough of water, and they're leaving. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So Swiss people, they don't talk unless they're spoken to. They're very private and quiet. They're very German, except they don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't want to take over the world and kill you. But in other words,
Just let us launder this money in peace.
Yeah. They'll take all the money from it, but they won't, deal with it. So I start asking. Oh, that's a boom.
Ooh, that was a boom
That's
boom.
all wrap the boating up pretty soon,
I'm
Thunder.
going to wrap boating up in a second.
Yeah.
So I put my hand in the water, and it's ice fucking cold.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of the summer in Switzerland, and I'm like, what is this? And the lady goes, oh, this is our the town
glacier water,
This
right?
is our this water. This fountain has been here for the courtesy of the Swiss residents since 1250. And I look and I go, where does this water come from? The lady turns around, she just points at the fucking mountain. And it's literally the snow cap as it's melting directly down into this thing they built in and you drink this water, Opie. It's like a slice of bread. There's so many minerals in it.
Yeah.
And it filters through the rocks and it comes out pristine. Boat sinking. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Actually, the tastiest, I licked an iceberg in Iceland.
How was that?
There's this iceberg that goes into this iceberg lake. It's like a lake with a bunch of icebergs floating, and then they get sort of out into the ocean. And you do these like Zodiac rides, and you can grab a little, ice rock, and
It's delicious, I hear.
the most delicious water anything. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
It has every mineral.
Yeah.
It has everything in it. It's unbelievable.
It was super, super cool.
That's awesome. Anyway, the last documentary I saw was The Perfect Bid.
Oh, the Price is Right thing?
Yeah, it's about The Price is Right, and there's this nerd that is his whole life he turned into studying the prices of items for the Price is Right show.
Yeah.
And I think he was on, I don't know, a couple dozen times probably, right?
He got in the audience a bunch. He got on stage once. But he would muse other people, into winning, and he mused some guy into winning, and then the guy basically did not acknowledge his help, which is.
And well, the story goes that he was on the show once, and then I think you're only allowed to be on once, but he would still go into the audience.
Yeah.
And when people are yelling out bids on that dumb show, stupid me, I'm thinking it's just we gotta go. That's
some thunder.
That's some thunder.
The best is everybody's high. So we're like, that might be one of those earthquake tornadoes.
That was bad. So anyway, whatever. So when they're yelling out prices, I just think it's somebody just just guessing on the top of their head.
Jump in there.
Yeah, go.
Just point where the life preservers are. What side? Right there?
Down right.
Yes,
Anyway.
sir. Aye, Captain.
Anyway, it turns out there's a lot of experts in the audience, and they have already figured out the bid, and they're yelling it out, trying to help the contestants. So this guy that studied his whole life, he couldn't get on the show anymore. There was a guy on stage, and he nailed the bid to the dollar.
Yeah.
And Drew...
it was Drew Carey at the time.
Was it Drew
Yeah,
Carey?
it was Drew Carey. It was because
Yeah.
remember because it was when
right,
they
right,
rebooted
right.
it, he could go back.
Right.
Yeah, that was why.
And
he
Drew
couldn't go
Carey
back.
was depressed at that moment. He thought that would be it. That they're going to have to cancel the show because there's some inside shit going on right there.
I watched the one Morgan Spurlock recommended on your
Rats?
show. No, I haven't seen Rats
You
yet. The
haven't seen
other
Rats?
one, brother. No, Joshua. The one to his kid, Dear Zachary.
I ain't talking about
Dear Zachary was the
I'm not
most
talking
fucked up.
about-
It's the most fucked up documentary
Tell me about
ever.
it. What is it about?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
It's. I don't even know how to describe it. It is the single most depressing piece of film I've ever watched in my life, but it's done so well I can't help but tell people about it.
My marriage tape?
It's like
It is hardcore depressing.
it's really really brutal.
I saw it on a beautiful summer day, and then I had to crawl up into the fetal position for an hour to get my head back.
It's really bad that you could be the toughest guy in the world, you will be crying. For real crying. It's really hard. It's the most horrible story you can
What
imagine.
is it, though?
well.
Okay, a guy makes a documentary about a murdered father for the unborn son. Right? Is that about right?
So far, so good.
So far, so good, right? So a father gets murdered while a girl is pregnant. He makes a film about this guy's life for the unborn son. That's the basic premise of it. What happens during the making of the documentary is so fucking crazy. I don't even think I can describe it.
No, don't give it away.
I don't want to give it. I don't know.
I'll get. Here's the description from online. In 2001, 28-year-old Dr. Andrew Bagby is found dead in a park in Pennsylvania. He had been shot by his ex-girlfriend, who then fled to Canada, where she was able to walk free on bail. Pregnant with Andrew's child, Andrew's enraged parents campaign to gain custody of the child and convict their son's killer. Filmmaker Kurt Quain pairs this story with home movies and interviews with those who knew Andrew, hoping to give his best friend's son an opportunity to discover who his dad was.
Wow.
And it gets way worse.
Yeah, that is like the. That's the setup. That's that in any other story. That's like the horrible thing. This is the setup.
The kid, the kid's born and healthy and all that, and now it's like the woman that killed their son, because now the parents are involved, and they're going back and forth sort of with custody. And the parents of the murdered son wants to take on the kid. And
Yeah, stop there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think stop there.
I'm going to watch it.
You should watch it. It's real. Prepare yourself though for the most depressing piece of film you'll ever see.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's
Super fucked
Wow,
up.
you guys are serious.
No,
No, really. Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
if you're not bothered by this film by the end, you're not human. You're
If he's not bothered
human.
by it, he really could be Sarah Sanders.
Yeah.
Huckabee. Who's Sanders? Who's Sarah Sanders?
That's her real name, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
That's Mike Huckabee's daughter.
Yeah, the president's spokesperson, liar in chief.
Would you hook up with her?
Ew.
Let's put money on it.
No, not even if you paid me. Not even if she wasn't her. Not even if it was that figure on a friendly person that I thought had a soul. Would I? Ew, gross.
Well, you just spit on like 80% of my conquests.
Nice job there, Prince Valiant.
You'd go there, huh?
Huh?
You'd go there?
I'll find, as a Cuban man, I find something beautiful in every woman. I'll find it. If you have a nice knee, if that's all you got, we'll work with it. It'll turn me on. I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
A single man in his 40s for you.
You know? If you like me, I'll figure out how to like you.
All right.
Okay,
that thunder's getting too
3.0.
close, man.
We're outta
We're
here,
going to have to
everybody.
pick up some anchor and head to shore.
All right, we're going to pick up anchor and head to shore. Matt, from the Smoking Tire, this is awesome. I'm sure we'll do a little close at
We
the
can
end.
do something while motoring if you want.
Nah, we'll
back,
figure
but-
it out. But we
thanks
got to
for boating
run
with
right
me.
now, and we got to get the anchors up, and we got to get back to shore.
Okay, the movie talk at the end of that got a little weird. Let's do a quick time jump while Captain Matt focuses on navigating us back to the dock safely.
So that was abrupt. We had to stop the podcast because there were thunder clappers all around us, and it was getting pretty intense. I've been on a lot of boats in my life, especially on the Long Island Sound. You don't play with the Long Island Sound. The weather changes quick.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
And Matt was definitely a little nervous, and he got us back into the marina nicely.
Very nice.
You see all those houses we just checked out on the way in?
I mean, I'm an experienced sailor. I've been on this boat twice.
Yeah,
So I know everything about it.
right.
Those houses were dope.
They were really nice. You think the people appreciate a house like that?
It's old money. They don't know nothing. They're mad. Like they're yelling at the maid. Esperanza, where are my goddamn cufflinks?
How do you know my maid's name?
Bro.
She's my mom. I thought I recognized that shirt. This will ring a bell. Mr. Farah?
That's cold.
That's cold.
What do we got?
The Beaner Express.
Why is John McCain driving the boat?
Oh, that's Mike Pence. He thought those are all gays. He's getting rid of them.
Look, Mike Pence might be a little fruity. He might be a little fruity, right, Matt?
I agree.
Anyone that obsesses about the gays that much is a little fruity. Come on, who's with me?
Whoever smelt it dealt it.
I'm with you. The obsession over that is way too high for him to not be fighting some internal thing.
No
I'm
matter.
just gonna tell you, I don't know about Mike Pence, but I'll tell you my life experience. The big jock who always like gay bashed and hated everything would get drunk and try to kiss some dude at one point or another. Seriously, my whole life. We're like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, man. I hate you, Dad, and like starts screaming. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, it's the Zimas, man.
Oh my God! There was one time we were hiding in this room, and this giant dude that was friends with us, and he scared everybody, and he would beat everybody up. And he brings this girl into the room, and we're hiding in the fucking room. We were all doing sneaky bumps and shit, so we're like little spooked out bats, right? So he gets the girl on the bed, and we're on the other side. There's like two twin beds, and we're hiding on the other side of the other bed. It was a beach house. And he gets the girl naked, and we're looking at the girl, and the girl, of course, was a 30, right? And all of a sudden we hear his voice, and he's like, "You're so beautiful." Oh my God. I've dreamed about touching you and me and my friend are like literally driving our fingers into our own skin like, what is going on? He goes, oh my God, you're so soft. You smell like an angel. And my friend's like, I can't take this much longer, Carl. I'm like, he's going to kill us. And we watched and listened to him have the most metrosexual sex.
Oh my God.
He's like in one point he's like, did you wash your hair? And she's like, yeah, it smells beautiful. We're like, what the fuck is this? This is not even normal. And we kept hearing like, can I touch you there? She's like, yes,
Shut the fuck up.
shut up, you sound like freaking Richard Simmons.
Oops.
Sorry, don't curse here. You're not used to
Sorry, Lummy.
Oh, there's that.
Sorry, Lummy. Wow, we're a little loud for the marina. Yeah. A little loud.
And it was
loud.
just. Wait, we're making Matt pick up.
Oh, Matt. I'm sorry.
We're good.
His name is Matt Farah.
We're
not
good.
Matt Esperanza.
We're done. Matt Esperanza has finished.
We're done?
Almost done. I have to pee, and you guys got to get your stuff.
Well,
but
do you
that's
want me
it.
to mop up the bait?
No, you know
from the deck.
No, you know.
I'm not
why?
even. That's not even a joke.
No,
there's a
it's-
couple spots.
Because here's the thing: it rains like crazy.
Yeah.
That handles it.
We're good. Okay. All right. Good.
But thank you for coming on my boat and having me on your show.
Matt, this was a pleasure, man.
We'll do it again. Next time we'll go up to Hudson River. We're getting pizza. Carl, too. We're getting pizza.
Oh, we're getting pizza. Why are we getting pizza? Not
So
that I'm
I've got a
complaining. I'm
place.
just
I'll
asking.
plug.
Why would you?
I'll
No
plug.
one's ever. I never even heard that. That burned my ears.
There isn't a need for a why are we getting pizza because we're hungry. But also, there's a place called Sunrise Pizza. It's in Rye, New York.
And it's something I've never heard of.
And
And he
if I
gave me
can-
all the click words. He's like, never changed the recipe, open for 30 years, best slice of pizza I ever had. I said, done.
Yeah, so we're gonna try it, and Carl will let me know how if I'm on or if I'm
That's
off.
it. I'll tell you right away.
Yeah.
All right, let's end the podcast on the pizza joint then.
Yeah, but check me out on the Smoking Tire. Go to thesmokingtire.com. You'll find everything, or Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, The Smoking Tire. And if you like watches,
Yes.
Watch and Listen Podcast, it's called. You get it on iTunes. You can also watch it on YouTube, hence the Watch and Listen. It's a video show. Oh, that's the air conditioning coming on. The air conditioner on the boat.
And then you can find me anywhere. I'm single, ladies. My friend's got a boat, Matt.
All the single ladies, and he's friends with a guy with a boat.
Yeah.
Matt Farah, it was a pleasure to finally meet you, my friend.
Thank you, Opie.
A
Thanks for
pleasure.
coming on the show.
I love this.
We'll do it again.
Yeah,
My
of
boat
course.
is your boat.
Of
Have
course.
you come to California and visit me out there, and we'll do it up on the west side.
West Side.
I would like that. All right.
Opie's a West Side guy. You're a West Coaster. Like in the way you are, the way you make like homemade clothes and shit.
You and your Merrills, you know.
Like, look at those little shoes. I mean, I know they're very
I rock
practical.
Merrills. I fucking know.
These are
Those are boat shoes. I know.
no, they're like water
this is
shoes.
cool.
They're like all practical. Yeah, that's my long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
All right, so we might end from the pizza joint. If not, this
We're
was
gonna
a
end from
lot
the
of fun.
pizza
All right, we're gonna end from the pizza joint. I'm just making Joey work extra hard on this podcast because I'm
I've
just
been waiting my whole
stopping
life.
and starting,
Yeah, right.
stopping and starting, and letting Joey figure out all the transitions.
I've been
So
waiting my whole life to plug Sunrise Pizza somehow.
All right,
So
you
this
did.
is my moment. This is my Guy Fieri diners, drive-ins, and dives moment.
beautiful.
Here we
Go
go.
find out.
No worries, Opie. You want pizza? You got pizza.
Now we're at Sunrise Pizza in Rye, New York. Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire.
I had to take you guys to my pizza spot because I like showing Carl. You know, I'm like anybody else. I like validation. People ask me about cars all the time, but they really just want validation of what they think is right is right. So I think this is the best pizza on the planet, and I wanted Carl to taste it. And I just got it. He's actually buying it. He just said, as I walked away with the slice, he said, "Smells right."
Smells right, so that's a good sign.
Good sign. Absolutely. I'm gonna throw a little garlic powder, a little oregano on mine. That's how I do.
That sounds about right.
You're welcome. You got a buffalo chicken. Is that a vodka chicken or buffalo chicken?
Whatever chicken, not buffalo.
Vodka chicken. Maybe.
Oh yeah. And then I got a plain slice. You got to go plain slice just to see what the joint's all about.
Well, that's like your control sample, right? It's like a baseline.
Of course.
Yeah,
Now, what's the
yeah.
deal with this place? They've been here 30 years.
I don't know how long they've been here, but I've lived in this area for almost 30 years, and this place is completely unchanged since I was 8 years old.
Well, that's usually a good
And I
sign.
could walk here from my school, so I would come here like every Friday with my friends and whatever. They don't deliver. This place will not. Their kitchen couldn't keep up with delivery. In high school, that's what I talk to you about driving all the time. I offered to deliver for them for free, only for the tips, and they said their kitchen couldn't keep up if they offered delivery.
No kidding.
So, Carl Ruiz.
Here we go. All eyes are on Carl Ruiz. What do you think?
Ruiz or Ruiz? Who says it wrong?
It doesn't matter. I don't even know what it is.
All right, what are we looking at?
I think my father made up that name when he got here. That's good. See how the cheese didn't slide off?
Yeah.
That's a big problem. Okay? That means the dough is overproofed.
You're letting the pizza hang down to see how much grease is on it, and how much no grease dripped off it.
No grease is dripped off. The undercarriage is great. It's got great temperature.
Put it in your face, Carl.
Huh?
Eat it. Eat it.
That's a very good slice of pizza.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's all right, Matt.
Well executed. Very good.
That's probably, you'll probably only find this on the East Coast. There's probably only maybe 5 pizzerias in New York City that can do that.
That's very good.
30 years, been exactly the same.
And the best part of this, people hate when we eat on the podcast, so this is perfect that we're doing this.
I think we gave him 3 hours of zima earlier. This is the dessert, right?
All right, go.
That one seems to be. It's good, right?
A good call. The Sicilian is dope.
In high school, my order was plain cheese and corner Sicilian. I was all about the corner. And then I'd get the marinara and a dip.
Perfect. All right, Matt.
It's all about the ratios.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
How about we hang out like real people instead of this podcast equipment on the whole time? So we're going to end. We're going to eat our pizza. And I'm going to go home. And everyone else can do their shit. And
If you're in Rye, New York, Sunrise Pizza is legit.
Thank you, Carl.
I enjoy it.
I'm glad my validation has been achieved.
It's very good pizza.
If you want to learn about cars and watches, hit me up.
the Smoking Tire.
Thanks, all.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for lunch, Carl.
No problem, buddy. I got you.
You didn't think we'd go a whole episode without eating something. We hope you enjoyed this two-part adventure on the water. Big thanks to our new friend, Matt Farah, for inviting us on his dad's yacht. Thanks, Dad. And of course, leave us a 5-star rating at Apple Podcasts. Write a review. Share this episode with a friend. Go to smokingtire.com for cool car talk. Buy a hat or shirt at OpieRadio.com. And please subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Opie Radio.
The Westwood One Podcast Network. Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon.
Def Leppard guitarist Phil Collen explains why he had to recently leave the tour. Former Motley Crue frontman John Corabi has some fatherly advice for Tommy Lee. And the boys are going to rock with Vinnie Vincent drummer Bobby Rock.
Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon. Download and subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and the Westwood One Podcast app. Free from the Westwood One Podcast Network.